What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rock Fantasy Files. I'm your host, James, bass player from Crucial Pain and clerk at Disc and Dat Record Store. And tonight, we're doing a really special episode of Rank and File, and we're going to talk about the mighty Led Zeppelin tonight. How about that? Look at me. I got a fancy drinking mug. Usually, Count Ralphus has the dope drinking vessels. Oh, he's
There you
got one
go.
too. Look at that. There we
Yes, on
go.
Coffee
your it's the
mug
top of his game.
celebration.
So we are going to rank all nine Led Zeppelin studio albums in order from our least favorite to our very favorite, just like we do on every episode of Rank and File. You guys know the deal. We got Tony Dio here tonight from North Carolina. We got our resident vampire historian, Count Ralphus. We've got Ovi from Norway staying up all night hanging out with us. And please, everybody, welcome my buddy Joe to the show. It's his first time on the Rock Fantasy Files. Joe is a Led Zeppelin fanatic and historian, and one of the fucking psychopaths that I went and saw Becoming Led Zeppelin with last year 7 times. So as soon as we announced that we were doing this, I had to get Joe involved because
Lucky number
he's going
seven.
to have some really cool goodies to show you guys during the show. Definitely going to be some good show and tell from Joe coming up. So let's start. We're going to do 2 trips around and do our bottom four. So we're going to go from 9 to 6, and then we're going to go around and do 5 to 1. So I am going to start the show with Tony Dio. Give us your 9 to 6.
All right. So that's the first four, right? Okay. Um, I of course we said we're gonna throw this one in, so I'm definitely the bottom of the pile for me is gonna be Coda. And this was, I think just some like leftover tracks and some stuff they put together and released in when was this actually? 82, it says it was
Yep.
released. There's a couple tracks that I dig on here. I mean, it's just one that I don't revisit very much. I think yeah, I liked Wearing and Tearing. The last track on here is pretty cool. The version of I Can't Quit You Baby on here is great. Really like that. Um, the Bonzo's Montreux is kind of cool for what it is. Um, but yeah,
Bonsaru.
that's definitely one I don't revisit very much. I remember buying this when I was first getting into Zeppelin as a teen, and I remember finding it like in the cutout bin on album,
Yep.
because it was just in the delete bin for like maybe $3 or $4 or something, and getting it and going, this is nowhere as good as these other ones that I've been listening to. Next up for me, I was kind of going back and forth with these next two, but I'm going to go ahead
Mhm.
and call it with Presence being next. Always thought the album cover, that Hypnosis cover, was really cool with the object there on the table, and I think you could buy that for a while there. You could actually, Joe has one. He may show us later.
No, I don't have one of those.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna let you
wow.
down.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
I remember seeing them in some like catalog back years ago. You could order them. I mean, like way back, like in the '80s and stuff.
When
Um,
an album came
but
out, like you could get it as like a promotional item, but they were very limited, and not many people have kept them in good condition throughout the years. Very rare, collectible. The
hmm
original one, anyway.
I love Achilles' Last Stand on here. Just an epic song. It's really really cool on here, and nobody's fault but mine. It's just a really cool one on here as well. And I always thought Hots for Nowhere was kind of cool. It's some cool tracks on here, but I put that in that position. Going on to In Through the Outdoor next, and I mean, In the Evening, such a great opening track. Really like that one. Um, the I, All of My Love is, I mean, it's a great ballad, but it's one I don't know. I'm kind of sick of hearing. The radio has kind of killed that one for me. But I do like Fool in the Rain. That's a cool song on here. Hot Dog's pretty interesting. Great. It could have been a great bluegrass song. But but yeah, that's where that one's at. And moving on to the next one here. Believe it or not, I've got four next.
Oh
And
wow.
this is a great record. This is the first thing I ever got by Zeppelin. I
Me
imagine
too.
it's a lot of people's first Led Zeppelin
Yep.
It's
record
the
because it
first
had
Zeppelin
Stairway to
CD ever
Heaven on it.
made too. It's the first
Oh,
album ever.
really?
Yep.
They put it on CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first got this. I remember going on a field trip to an amusement park. It was King's Dominion up in Richmond when I was in like the seventh or eighth grade. And I had a boom box and I had all like some cassettes of all these songs that I recorded off the radio and stuff. And some dude on the trip, one of the guys is like had some cassettes and stuff, and he had Led Zeppelin 4 and he had Van Halen 2, and I ended up with both of them. But I remember them being those Columbia House cassettes that were really cheap looking with the just had the album cover in the middle of the
Yeah.
white
And
cover and
it
stuff.
had
It
like a
was
red stripe on the spine,
yeah,
right?
the pink or red stripes on the spine. Yeah, I remember
Probably
that's
have one of
this is
those
the
here if you want to see it. So
yeah, I'm sure you guys see you
yeah.
got a nice little tape collection back there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's
But so that was
awesome.
the first one I ever got, and I do like this record. I do enjoy pretty much the whole record. It's one of these ones you need to listen to from start to finish. But Black Dog and Rock and Roll, I mean, that's my favorite stuff. I used to didn't like Battle of Evermore, and it's like one of my favorite Zeppelin tracks now.
Oh, it's so good. It's
Um,
so good.
it is, but back as a teenager, is
Yeah, I think.
a budding metalhead. I just is like that
Mhm.
sounds like some freaking Renaissance music or something. Hell, I
Mhm.
didn't even know what Renaissance music was.
That was
But
good. That's
but
good.
when the levee breaks is another just great one. Just a great track. Of course, Beastie Boys lifted it for rhyming and stealing. So that beat. Because every time I hear it come on the radio when somebody's with me, I'll start joking around. Like, oh, they're playing that Beastie Boys song. But yeah, so that's my first four there, guys.
All right.
Well, when the levee breaks, isn't that half traditional, half Led Zeppelin made?
What's that?
Isn't it a traditional tune that they have made into Zeppelin?
Oh, like
Yeah,
an old blues song.
I
I
believe.
thought
They
Yeah,
got a
that.
lot of those.
yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that's another one that was kind of a quote unquote interpretation that was modernized because I think actually from James's store I got a really good compilation. It might have even been one of those Mojo magazine compilations where it had like one of the early renditions of it where you hear a lot of slide guitar and it's probably recorded on wire or something. So,
Right.
but yeah, you can hear it. And I know on that song, it's unique because the drums, I believe, in Headley
Yeah.
Grange were like down the hallway. That's why Bonham's drum sounds so large, pretty much.
Massive. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's such a heavy drum sound on there. But yeah, Zeppelin borrowed a lot from
Yes,
people.
they did. Yes, they did. All right, Count Ralphus, you're up to bat.
Right. Yeah, I talked to Ovi about it. I was like, I got to listen to every album to like do a ranking. Like he was doing ones out of his head, but I was thinking like it changes all the time, especially when it gets like the last six of them. It's like it could have been any one of them. I think we're gonna all have like interesting lists, but I think a lot of us are all gonna have the same for number nine. So, Coda, but I definitely thought it should have been included. Because yeah, they put it together with all leftover stuff. But why not like put it out that early? Like we're still free. So it's great that not the first time they did that. They did it, of course, with physical graffiti to fill up the album. The part
Yeah.
side four, they put all other sessions that they threw in there. But yeah, there's some good songs though. I think we're gonna groove. I thought it was all right. I can't quit you, baby. Ozone baby. That was from In Through the Outdoor Sessions. And Wearing and Tearing, I thought was like the best song on there. It's like the best like rocker. But yeah, that's easily my number nine. And so my number eight is gonna be In Through the Outdoor.
Hmm.
Yeah, my fucking writing is so small. Uh Yeah, this album was dominated by John Paul Jones and Plant because Page was on heroin at the time, and Bonham was a huge alcoholic. But they definitely came up with a lot of great songs. I like every album going from here on down, but yeah, "Fool in the Rain's" a radio staple. "In the Evening," that "Carousel La Bra," the 10.5 minute song is fucking really cool. "All of My Love," another radio staple. I have more notes, but I can't even read them because they're too small. I gotta start bringing like a magnifying glass. I filled up 2 pages of like notes. So it's like I try to fit it all, and then it ends up being too small. But yeah, so that's my number
We got to
eight.
get you a
And
teleprompter, Count.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I can just look
so
ahead.
such a blow below the belt.
So, all right, number seven, I'm gonna go with Presence. And yeah, it's their seventh album, of course. And recorded in '75 after Plant's car accident. Achilles'
Hmm.
Last Stand is a great song. Um, 10.5 minutes. Oh, the Hypnosis cover. They talk about that on that documentary about Hypnosis, which is really cool because they talk about so many cool bands and why they picked these album covers and stuff. Really bizarre. Uh, For Your Life is a cool slow one. Royal Orleans is cool. Nobody's Fault But Mine is great. Candy Store Rock is catchy. T for One is cool. Yeah, so that's my number seven. And now my number six is uh, oh yeah, my number six. I was kind of surprised that it was as low as I had it. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Led Zeppelin one.
Wow.
Yeah, I wowed myself with that too, because in my head I would have had it up higher, but then when you get down to these last bunch of them, it's like every one of them is fucking great. And one that I didn't used to always think was so great moved way up on my list after this listen. Yeah, I got it on cassette and CD, of course. But yeah, I mean, Good Times, Bad Times, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, Dazed and Confused is one of the great classics of all time from them. Communication Breakdown's fucking awesome. This is a great album, great debut. But for I got to put it somewhere on the list, and that's where I'm going with number six.
All right. Fair enough. Let's go all the way over to Norway and hear from Ovi.
Oh, there you did come over. It takes a time to get over. The pond,
What's the time difference? Is that 5 hours? The
6,
Northeast?
the 6 hours, and on Seattle is 9 hours. So it's like,
Wow.
yeah. I'm also going to go with Coda as number 9. I think if John Bonham has lived, this would have never been released. He would have never gone for it. He would never accepted it. I talked
Oh
with
yeah.
Ralph the other night because Coda has been really released in a deluxe edition where you get the extra side, and that side,
Mhm.
that last the extra disc, the disc number 3, it's so good. I mean, I don't understand it when they sit on that. How can they release this? But technology, I guess.
What is
Songs I
that? That's got what is that? Traveling Riverside Blues and Hey Hey
Hey,
What Can
hey,
I
what can I
Do?
do?
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I wonder if it had something to do with you know, the record industry is weird, like with catalog numbers. Maybe they made because they could have probably made that album a little bit longer, but back in '82 when it came out, CDs weren't out yet, so you still had your dominant album format was 50 minutes or
Oh
less.
yeah.
So they probably didn't have enough for a double album, but yeah, it's. I always wanted the same thing. Like I remember when I was getting to Zeppelin, I remember watching VH1's Legends. Like, wow, this was back in 1999, and I was so disappointed because I didn't know where the song "Hey Hey What Can I Do" was going to be. I like, where is this thing? And then eventually I found it on a CD single at Circuit
Right.
City.
This.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, it was a B side to Immigrant Song
Right.
45, right?
Right, which is a different, and I mean, I got the 45s too, but the 45 version of Immigrant Song doesn't have like that little pounding intro. It just goes right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Odd. I didn't mean to take your screen time away there. I'm sorry.
That's all good. Because disc two, you got like It Kept on Raining from 1970. You got like Work in Progress for Bonzo's Montreal. You got Sugar Mama from Led Zeppelin outtake. I mean, it's Four Sticks, Bombay Orchestra, and Friends, and it's so much good stuff here on disc two and three for Coda. It's insane. Number eight is going to be like Ralph. It's going to be. Oh wait, I'm going to say the songs on Coda. Like Poor Tom, Walter's Walk, and Bozo's Montreal. Bozo, I'm a Bonham fan to boot. So into the outdoor, All My Love, and what's the name of that 10-minute song that starts on C?
Carousel Ombre.
Yes, and my favorite one is of course like probably the most in the evening. In the evening has such good drums.
Oh
It has
yeah.
such a drive to it. But I find it better live. All the
Oh,
intro outro songs are better live. From Kensworth, from Kipsworth from '79.
Nebworth. That was their
Yes.
Yeah,
last UK show.
it
Mm-hmm.
sounds so much better than on the album. Uh, Number seven, I'm going to have Led Zeppelin number one. Uh, Baby, I'm going to leave you. Black Mountain. Wait, Black Mountain Side, is it on the first album?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Second track.
I'm thinking of which one I'm thinking of. This is another song called Black Something. And How Many Times. Number
Ooh.
six for me is going to be the second album. It's
Woo.
Rambling On. I really like Lemon Song, but Moby Dick. Bonzo Power.
You know what the working title for Moby Dick was, right?
Not sure.
It was Pat's Delight. Then it became Moby
Oh,
Dick.
ah.
Okay.
I always liked because the second album has so much better sound than the first one. It's like it's richer, it's thicker, it's so much better production. So if the first album kind of got a reboost, I don't know, maybe it would change, but it is what it is because it's legacy. So
No doubt. All right. Let's come back to the United States and talk to Joe.
Oh, great.
What you got, dude? 9-6.
9-6. We got a theme going on here. I mean, obviously, number 9 is Coda, and like a Spinal Tap moment. This one was never even opened. Whoever bought the
There you
studio
go.
never even opened it.
maybe it's
But
worth something too then.
maybe. I mean, it's like weird. Actually, still has the price code on it.
Oh wow.
So yeah, here in the States, I think what also happened, the Beatles had the same thing with Let It Be, which was kind of not really a last album. I wonder if Warner Brothers pumped so many copies of that out in '82 that plus, record labels were really pushing cassettes by '82, '83. They might have
Mhm.
been sitting on store shelves here in the States for a long time, just dumping them out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was only born in '83, so they weren't really selling a lot of records by the time I was going to record stores in like '95. So, but yeah, with Coda, I mean, you got to accept it for what it is. I mean, it sounds like everybody else here in the channel said the same three that I was going to go with. Walter's Walk was my number 3. I just like that because I think Tony was saying it kind of gives you a preview of, maybe where they were going. It definitely sounds much more contemporary for something recorded in, 78, 79. I obviously my 2 and number 1 are the live tracks, quote unquote, I Can't Quit You, Babe, and We're Gonna Groove. And I was telling James when I popped in the store the other day, the reason why those songs are kind of live but kind of not was because Jimmy Page, to fulfill the obligation to Warner Brothers, it was considered not a live album, so he removed the audience track on it. Because I mean, those 2 tracks are from the Royal Albert Hall on January 9th, 1970. They're the same exact tracks, and I think
Mm.
if you look in the liner notes, no, it didn't say it on the LP right here, but it says "I Can't Quit You, Babe" was recorded at Morgan Sound Studios, which it wasn't. It's the second track from the Zeppelin DVD. So,
Mhm.
but like I said, I mean, it's the shortest album. Like I said, I mean, I'll put it on here, shuffle it up. But I mean, you gotta just accept it for what it is. And I remember if you ever read the box set, which I'm sure we all have this thing. I mean, you can usually find these things.
Used to have it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they actually those remixes sound pretty good because those are the first ones Jimmy Page did. I think it even says in there that John Paul Jones was saying there wasn't a lot of leftovers, or at least they thought there weren't. But that's all I really got to say with Coda. I thought James was going to give me a hard time, but it sounds like everybody says the same thing. But Presence was my number 8. Um, it's. I mean, the working title with the album was supposed to be Thanksgiving because I mean the band was almost going to crumble. I think it was recorded in Munich, in a basement, and Robert Plant was in a wheelchair after the car crash in Greece in '75. If they didn't make that album, the band would have ended. So, but I mean, of the few tracks that are on there, I mean, the 3 I went with, T for One, which I always call like Since I've Been Loving You Part 2, but it's a great way to end the album. I always like that one. My number 2 is Nobody's Fault But Mine, which kicks off side 2. And I mean, the opening track, I mean, I always would think that maybe Presence would even be an excellent EP, but you couldn't have an EP that would be back in the 70s, almost 25 minutes. But I mean, the opening track, Achilles' Last Stand, pretty much, justifies the album. I mean, it's scary to think that song was recorded in 1976. It sounds like it was almost 10, 15 years ahead of its time. I mean, the guitar work on there, the tone of it, Bonham's drumming sounds like a machine gun. I mean, they were really firing on all cylinders in that track. So that's why, I was joking with James. I always said, that's my least favorite, but it's not. It's above. No, I can't say it's not. All right, so my number 7 is In Through the Outdoor, which there was 5. No, there's 6 different covers. I only have 5 of the 6. And if you bought the original LP, gotta make sure these were watercolored. So if you ever find these in a used record store, if you put water on this, it's all pastel colors.
That's very cool.
Nice.
I mean, like I said, they made so many copies of this, but if you ever want to see which one you got, I don't know if it's going to come on the camera. On the spine right there, there'll be a letter. This is a B scheme. So there's 6 different ones of these, and it's supposed to show different angles of that bar scene in New Orleans.
Right.
Oh, nice.
So believe it or not, I don't have the A one. I mean, but
I'm very surprised you don't have them all.
I think it's tough to find, and it's also tough to find with a bag that's not destroyed. So I mean, I've always liked it. I mean, I guess I got a sentimental attachment to it because I really got big into Zeppelin when I was in high school, and I think at that time, I was a freshman in high school in 1998, September '98. So that album was only 20 years old then, and that's I thought, okay, it's kind of cool. It's kind of hard to accept now that the album's over 45 years old. But I always enjoyed it. Again, accepted it kind of for what it is. But my top 3 on that album are, I can never pronounce it, but what is it?
Carousel.
I think that song's great because it's, I mean, as we've said before, I mean, pretty much Into the Outdoor is mostly a John Paul Jones, Robert Plant album because the other 2 are off doing extracurricular activities. But I like it. I mean, they never played that song live though. Fool in the Rain, that's my number 2. And the interesting part with that is I believe like the drumming, it's got like a Caribbean beat. I think it was 1978, wherever the World Cup was. I don't know if it was Argentina or Brazil. That's what inspired Bonham to have more of like a salsa drumming sound. That's where that comes from. And Fool in the Rain. And then obviously, my favorite track on there is In the Evening. I mean, when they played that live in Nebworth, also when they played it in spring of '80 for the, what was the last tour, I think it was Tour Over Europe, there was almost like a part of it when it goes, before it goes in the chorus, it almost sounds like a Mayday, sound from a ship. Because I would guess, it was that whatever Yamaha synthesizer that John Paul Jones was using. So, and if you go back, we were talking about, I mean, the live versions of songs from Into the Outdoor blow away the studio version. I think maybe the band had a resurgence. They were comfortable playing these songs because, yeah, I think the only two songs from Presidents they ever played live as Led Zeppelin were, you know, Achilles' Last Stand and Nobody's Fault But Mine. They never played anything else. I know they did when they did the Celebration Day. They played For Your Life, I think. But yeah, and then if you watch the Nebworth video, you actually see Jimmy Page playing Lake Placid. I think it's a '64 Stratocaster. That's where he's going with the whammy bar and the tremolo. So that was pretty neat. And then my last one in this round, I'm gonna change it up because the cover is disturbing. I got the 8-track of House of the Holy. So that one is interesting because that I think is the second Led Zeppelin album I ever heard. I'll never forget it. This would have been, I was in middle school. I always liked old stuff. I had, 8-tracks and everything. And a relative of ours gave me a box of 8-tracks to borrow. And I think that was the only Zeppelin one that worked. And I played it constantly. It was that one right there. It was the pink one. And that one actually, if Atlantic was weird with their 8-tracks, the first ones were white. Then they went to the pink ones, as I'm going to show later. Then they went to this setup where it was a cassette, but it was a squeeze. This is a copy of Zeppelin 1. So they made the 8-tracks and the cassettes and slipcases that would be pink. Then they went to the white ones. But anyway,
the outer cover was printed. It slid over to 8-track.
Yeah,
the album cover.
So
they're hard to find because most of people throw them away.
Right.
The outer cover.
And for some reason, I like collecting 8-tracks. I don't have any reel-to-reels, but they're so brittle. that 8-track was 25 years old then. And that was actually the first Zeppelin CD I bought on my own was House of the Holy. I'll never forget this. It's the summer 1998. I'm in our local mall, and my friend Mike Coldwell and I, lives out in Illinois now. He was really big into contemporary music at that time, like Blink-182, all that kind of stuff. I always liked old stuff. So we went into the Wall Music Store in our local Danbury Fair Mall. The store's long gone. So I go and buy it, and he looks at me. He's like, "Joe, you're not buying something old, are you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm buying this." He's like, "What is it?" He didn't know what Led Zeppelin was. And he's like, "That's a weird cover." I said, No, the album's really good. Because the funny part was I didn't know what the cover looked like because we didn't have the internet then, really, in 1998. And obviously I only had this 8-track that didn't have any cover on it. So I go up and buy it. I'll never forget this. I go to the cashier and I'm talking with my friend Mike. And at that time they would tell you like the best-selling CD for that week in that genre. And I go over to him and say, "Mike, what's SKA music?" And this real, yeah. And this one guy, real jerk, he's like, "It's called ska music. Where have you been?" And then it's funny. I guess the manager of the store says, "Hey, shut up. At least this kid's buying real music." When he saw I was buying, a Led Zeppelin album. But yeah, I'm like, "What is SKA? I don't know what this is." And oh god, it sounds just as horrible now as it did then. Ska music. I never liked it. But the tracks on there that I liked were obviously I've always been a big fan of live music, so they played most of the tracks. I think they played, with the exception of Dire Maker. Isn't it pronounced Jamaica? But that's not on my list. Luckily, they never played that one. But No Quarter, which I know by like 75, that would go on for like 20 minutes. Over the Hills and Far Away is my number 2. And then my number 1 from House of the Holy is The Song Remains the Same, which originally had the working title of The Crusade. So those are my ranks there. Hopefully I didn't go over my time.
I got one question for you, Joe.
You're good,
why
man.
didn't the Houses of the Holy song make the album?
I think James told me this. Didn't Atlantic think it wasn't a decent song, so they cut it?
Yeah, that's what I've read. Is the record label was just like, this song's kind of like a throwaway. We don't need this one on the record. You can hold on to that one. So Page held on to it, and it wound up being part of Physical Graffiti.
And the crazy thing is, obviously when they did the 2014 extended albums, the CDs, I think the outtake of How's the Holy, it's a little bit faster. I think that one's better than the release version.
Yeah, it is a little quicker. It's more up tempo.
Like I said, I think most of us are musicians. So, if you're a musician, you always like hearing like working versions of it, or knowing, especially a band like Zeppelin playing this stuff live. So,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, it was, as I was telling James, going through these things at first. I want to try to make it that, because if you overanalyze this stuff, you would never get this assignment done.
Oh
But
yeah.
ranking the albums wasn't that hard, but some of like the next batch, when you get to your top five, that was a lot more difficult narrowing it down to 3 songs.
Oh, no doubt.
So
No
I'll
doubt.
go more into depth with that. So thanks again for the time.
Of course. Good job, Joe.
You get a gold star.
You get a gold star.
Wow.
So Steven couldn't make it tonight, but he did give me his list. So before I go into mine, I'll give you Steven's bottom 4. So his number 9 is Coda, of course. His number 8 is In Through the Outdoor, of course. Number 7, Presence. Number 6, this is going to hurt Joe. Led Zeppelin 2, number 6. Wow.
Ouch.
So that's Steven's bottom 4. Now, my bottom 4, number 9 for me is going to be In Through the Outdoor. I do not like this album at all. I never did. I gave it a fresh listen at work last week just so I could say I sat and listened to it all the way through before doing this podcast. But oh boy, was it a labor to get through that fucking album. I suppose In Through the Evening is okay. I can live with it. I suppose Carousel Ombra is okay. I could live with it. Fool in the Rain, I think, is one of the worst things Led Zeppelin ever fucking wrote as a band. That main riff is so plodding and goes nowhere. That da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. To me, that sounds like if you're ever watching a cartoon and the dumb character walks in the room and you hear the music behind him, that's what that sounds like to me. And then the riff goes nowhere. And then all of a sudden we get like Midwestern saloon piano music starting out of nowhere. And then we get conga line drums and like whistles going off every couple seconds. And I'm like, am I listening to Led Zeppelin or Buster Poindexter? Because right now it sounds a lot like Buster Poindexter.
It's a heroin track.
Absolutely.
Heroin track.
Like all calypso, like a calypso part in the middle there.
Terrible. Hate it. Hot Dog is just stupid. I just why did you do it? It's just dumb. And I think All of My Love stinks. I think it's just a bland, boring ballad that goes nowhere. And the rest of the couple extra songs on there just they don't do anything for me. I think this album stinks. I think if I played bass on it, I would have been embarrassed to hand it over to the record label.
I don't even know if I can't even remember any great bass lines on that. Maybe
because they're not there.
Yeah, John Paul Jones is probably playing mostly keyboards on it because I never really thought of that. There is no bass on that.
It's all his left hand low on the keyboards,
Yeah, it's on my left hand when I listen to it.
It's the Justice for All for Led Zeppelin, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except not anywhere near as good. Number 8 for me is going to be Coda because there's at least a couple of tracks on this that I actually dig. We're Gonna Groove is good. I Can't Quit You Baby is cool. Bonzo's Mantra was okay for what it is. It's cool to hear him playing the drums. That's cool. But I think Ozone Baby stinks. I think Darlene stinks. I think the rest of this record stinks. It's just a cash grab thing. Not into
you just like the album cover.
Oh yeah, the cover is amazing. Absolutely. Number 7 for me is going to be Houses of the Holy. And this is going to be the last album where I disparage Led Zeppelin in any way, shape, or form. I like half of this album a lot. I hate the other half of it. Dire Maker, Dancing Days, and The Crunge are just terrible. Just awful songs. Just stupid. They go nowhere. And the Rain song, I don't hate it, but to me it just sits there and it just lays there like a wet fart in the room. Like it just goes nowhere.
Well, the thing with the weird and the weird thing with the Rain song, right? I think Jimmy Page wrote that
On heroin?
no, not on heroin. He wrote it back to get back to George Harrison because George Harrison at a party before he got thrown into a swimming pool said, you guys got to write more ballads. And I think there's a part in the Rain song that takes a riff from something George Harrison something.
Oh, okay.
And but yeah, I like that song, especially the song. The song remains the same. The first version on VHS in a clamshell case, but
there you go.
But it is a bit long, and then the synthesizer, they're not real strings,
Right.
and then and what you said that with the crunge, the only saving grace of that song, and it's not on that album, is when you hear it in a breakdown of Dazed and Confused on How the West Was Won. That's probably all of the crunge you would ever need to hear. And that's about it. Because the bass line's cool on it, but yeah, it's a waste of tape.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Now, the other half of the album I love. Over the Hills and Far Away is fantastic. The Ocean, fantastic. No Quarter is probably a top Led Zeppelin song as far as I'm concerned. I think that that's one of their better tunes, and I love the Crowbar cover of it. If you've never heard Crowbar covering No Quarter, go listen to that immediately after watching this episode because it's
Papa Kurt.
fantastic.
Tool
Papa
did
Kurt.
it as well.
Who?
Tool did it as well.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Mm.
And I
Not bad.
and song remains the same. Great song. Yeah, so that's number 7 for me. Number 6 is going to be Zeppelin 3. And from here on out, I like every album, so I have nothing bad to say about Zeppelin 3. I do like the contrast of rockers and mellow stuff on it, but I happen to dig the rockers more. I love Since I've Been Loving You, great track. Out on the Tiles, Robert's vocal
Megadeth cover is cool.
so good, man. Robert Plant sounds so great on that. And I love the Immigrant song, man. That's like heavy metal 101. What a fucking fantastic tune. Just awesome. So yeah, there's my
Viking.
96. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, actually, right. Fucking Viking metal, man. That's where it gets its start, as far as I'm concerned.
This is kind of interesting what you're on there, James, because Immigrant song is, in my mind, is actually quite out of place on the album because it doesn't resemble the rest of the album at all.
That's true.
It's kind of like we start you off really, really good, then we just and we do acoustic the rest.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a couple rockers interwoven in there, but that is definitely the heaviest and most rocking tune.
And that's that was one of the reasons why, believe it or not, that was the worst selling of the Zeppelin catalog, the original albums, was Zeppelin 3. I mean, it's funny where if you talk to someone like talking to my father, my uncle, when that album came out, you had 1, 2, and Zeppelin 3 came out just about a year after the second album came out. Mm-hmm. And, you got, like you were just saying, you got the Immigrant song that, was back to where, oh, great, this is going to be a hard-hitting album. And then you got Friends, which I think it's at the end of Friends where the recording engineer actually wiped the tape. And that's why you got that weird synthesizer sound, because they had to cover like a bad edit up. But, we all love it. But, yeah, if you gave somebody like Zeppelin 3 and then you told them it's from 1970, they would probably be totally confused. And then and the cover, Jimmy Page did not like that album cover.
It's a strange album cover, but it's kind of cool to play with when you're under the influence of leafy green medicinal herbs.
Oh yeah, if you've got the vinyl, the spinning wheels, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the original.
There you go.
Yeah.
Count Ralph has got his.
Count's got it.
All right, so let's go around one more trip. and give our top five. Tony
Oh,
Dio, what do you
Second
got?
round. Ding
I
ding.
actually when Joe was talking about eight tracks, I
Ooh,
pulled
I
out what
see
eight
him.
tracks I had. I have a Zeppelin 2 here. These are Beat to Hell. I don't even know if they still play.
That's a
And I
record.
and
That's
this
an RC Record Club of America Zeppelin too, isn't it? Doesn't it say RCA Record Club of America?
yeah, it is RCA. It's RCA Club, yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh. And then that is almost faded completely off the
Wow.
four there. And of course
Yep.
my presence is a pink one that was a slipcase cover, like you. But I thought the oddest thing is Led Zeppelin In Through the Outdoor. For the album cover, they put the fucking paper bag for the album cover on it. You know, they did that on a cassette too, I remember.
Well,
Instead of that,
yeah.
it's and instead of one of the six covers, you would think they would pick for the cassette or the eight track. So yeah.
Well, the weird. I
Oh,
think the other maybe why they did that, and not to sound like a total geek.
Too late.
That album came out in '79, so I think that's the first Zeppelin album where they went with the new catalog numbers, where it was two letters, six digits. So
mhm.
maybe they changed something because the earlier eight tracks. I'm trying to see if I got one. If you're, I think your Zeppelin
Actually,
4 might have it. If it's I got a Zeppelin 3 Ampex one. They actually have like
Mhm.
little metal tongs in there instead of like the sponge.
Ampex. Yeah,
Yeah,
four is Ampex. Yep.
those are better sounding tapes. But I mean,
Yeah, they
eight
always were.
tracks. I mean, I like collecting them. I got a working player, but I mean, I'm to the point now where I mean, the players don't break. It's the tapes, and you
Tape.
can't open them up.
The leader tapes dry rot and they break.
Yes.
They come unglued.
Like I said, I mean, I
Mhm.
got a whole bunch of them on a wall here, but some of them are
Yeah, I
even.
got a whole bunch of eight tracks. They're just for visual.
Yeah.
I have a working player, but every time I put one in, it seems like it either drags or breaks.
Yeah.
So
They're one-time use.
yeah. Okay, so back to my list here. Next up is going to be Houses of the Holy. Um, I love Song Remains the Same. I love the way it just kicks this album off. I love the way it goes into the Rain song. But my favorite versions of those two songs is from the live album, from in the movie, of course, from the Song Remains the Same movie, along with Robert Plant's fantasy sequence just is amazing. It's like you a music video for that, and um, never James was saying, it's some of the songs on here I've never been like crazy about or whatever. I love the ocean, and No Quarter is just fucking brilliant. Love that song. I love the version, the No Quarter footage, fantasy footage with John Paul Jones from the movie as well. It's just amazing. And uh Dermaker, I think is how it's pronounced, is actually like Jamaica, Dermaker. I could go the rest of my life and never hear that song again. It's just horrible, and radio has killed it for me as well. I used to not mind it, but maybe I just hate reggae as well. So I just, just don't like it. So don't like that song at all. Led Zeppelin 3 is going to be next for me. Yeah, I like the acoustic factor of this album. I always loved Tangerine. That was probably just one of my favorites off of here. Um, but Immigrant Song is just classic. I mean, it's that like you said, that started the whole Viking metal thing in a way. I've always liked Celebration Day. Hearing it on the soundtrack too, the way you came out, from the opening there, when they open Rock and Roll and it goes into Celebration Day, which it was not the way it was actually on the movie. They had it different or whatever, but since I'm loving you, great blues track on here. I always liked Out on the Tiles. That's a heavy one. Really, that's probably next to Immigrant Song is probably the heaviest song on here. As far as the guitar based heavy, but Gallows Pole is super heavy to me. Just the whole
Yeah.
topic of it. It's just it's a kind of a almost like got a country swing about it, but it just works. It's so dark, the lyrical content of it and what it's all about.
It's a great way of
Um,
opening up side two of the album as well.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's gonna be the next one in line there. Next up for me is going to be Led Zeppelin 1. Just it's something about this album. It's just got this dark feel about it. You got to think about when it was actually released. I mean, imagine someone listening to Days Confused back then how heavy it was for for the first time, where you hear the just it's just got this evil about it. It's just a black aura over it. It's so heavy. I mean, Good Times, Bad Times is a cool song. I loved Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. You Shook Me is a great blues track. Um, uh, Communication Breakdowns. I mean, that's like freaking maybe the first punk rock song or something. I don't know. It's just fucking it just kills. It's such a cool song. I loved How Many More Times too. It's just that's another just hard driving blues song. First time I ever got this was on cassette, and because the cassette version is side two is side one.
Reversed.
So I just got so used to listening to Your Time Is Gonna Come as the first track for years, and then when I picked it up on CD years later, it was just reversed. It kind of blew me away when it opens with Good Times, Bad Times instead. Um, Next up for me is Led Zeppelin 2, and I love this one. It's just such a great record. I mean, once again, imagine someone hearing Whole Lot of Love for the first time, what they were thinking. I mean, and you know, you got to, just a time period, and everybody's kind of conservative and stuff in a way, and it sounds so freaking evil. I'm sure several parents grabbed it and hid them from their kids. They probably were weirding out about the satanic thing about it, the whole dark aura over it. Just an amazing track though. But Lemon Song, God loved it. That bass line is just so heavy in there, man. John Paul Jones is just killing it on that track. Um, Heartbreaker and Living Loving Made, you gotta play them back to back. It's just, classic rock radio caught on to that and started doing it for years. Um, Ramble On's always been a cool song. Love Moby Dick. Bring It On Home, just great. Love that one. That riff when it kicks in is so heavy. Um, the breakdown part in Heartbreaker, the guitar part. I used to work this job. I worked in screen printing. A little funny story here. I always had radio playing, and it was on the classic rock station. And this black guy that worked with me, he would always come through my area, and he'd always stop and he act like he was jamming out because he didn't listen to that kind of stuff. But he was just. And one day he comes in, and the breakdown part of Heartbreakers playing, just the guitar part, and he goes, "Who is that?" I said, "That's Led Zeppelin." He goes, "Ooh, that Led Zeppelin. That's a bad motherfucker. They gonna have to rescreen that guitar when he get through with it." The same guy thought Pink Floyd was Pink Florida. He thought we were saying Pink Florida. What we'd say, we're listening to Pink Floyd. Oh, play me some Pink Florida.
Well, the
Crazy.
funny thing with that, I got a story. My uncle, right? It's funny because he's born in 45. He figured he would know this music. He doesn't. He graduated high school in 63. I think the most aggressive song he ever listened to was House of the Rising Sun. But
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I think it was the first year my father and I were going to see, the Who at Madison Square Garden in 2002. That was the tour that Entwistle died. And then I think he went to pick my younger brother up, took him out for dinner or something. And Who Are You comes on the radio. And he starts playing it, and he starts tapping on the steering wheel while he's driving. And when it comes in saying, "Who are you?" Since 1978 until 2002, he thought the song was called Blue Water. So he's going, "Blue water, blue, blue." My brother's like, "Blue water?" It's like, "Yeah, the song's called Blue Water, right?" He's like, "Oh, it's called Who Are You?" Really?
I'll never listen to that song the same way again.
Yeah.
And your Heartbreaker
Blue
thing, the
water.
crazy thing is they never played the two songs, Heartbreaker, Live and Love and Made, live, ever, right? And that solo that you were just talking about, I believe that's the first time Jimmy Page ever played his Les Paul that he got from Joe Walsh, his number one, through a Marshall amp. Because when you watch the Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary, up until that point, he was actually using a Rickenbacker amp. And it's funny because when you listen to that, especially like an unremastered one, like an early CD, you can actually hear the amp buzzing because he's cranking it as loud as he can. So yeah, I remember the old days when I used to have AOL Instant Messenger. Every time I'd send a message, it would play that lick of the solo. My friends hated that.
Nice.
Killer, man. Good info.
Blue
Yeah,
Water.
so number one, of course, for me is physical graffiti. I just fell in love with this when I first got it. I mean, it's a double album. It's really not that long time wise, so if you think about it, but maybe what is it, under an hour, like maybe 50, 55 minutes or something. I didn't check the
I think it's
time
like
on it.
45 minutes a disc. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
So
a lot of clutter on it either. I mean, it's not
yeah.
overwhelming.
It goes right
Uh,
by.
Yeah, I mean Custard Pie, what a great opening riff on that song. The funk hard rock band Mother's Finest actually copped that
Oh
riff
yeah,
with
that is
Mickey's
good
Monkey.
band. I
Mickey's
like that
Monkey
band.
has basically the same riff as Custard Pie, which strangely enough, that one came out I think in '77 maybe or something. So it was a couple years later. The Rover, one of my all-time favorite tracks from Zeppelin. Love it. In My Time of Dying, once again, another great track. Love that one. I think John Christ lifted that riff for Twisted Cane from Danzig, very similar to the In My Time of Dying riff. Houses of Holy, great track. I love Trample on the Foot. I just that crazy just beat in there is really cool. Kashmir is one of Zeppelin's greatest. It's a great track. I've always liked In the Light.
That's a
The
trip, man.
Yeah, it's just a cool track. The the way it opens with
Hmm.
the trancy intro, and then it's like he's singing, and it's really kind of a moody, kind of just dark, kind of moody song, and then it just all of a sudden that little riff comes in with that bling 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 bling, and it's almost like you can picture the light just. It's like and its song almost becomes almost kind of cheerful towards the end, like it's like the sun came out or something. I always think about when I've listened to that. 10 Years Gone, another one of my all-time favorite tracks from Zeppelin. Just love that. And I mean, Night Flight's cool. Wanton Song. I mean, Boogie with Stu, which is basically Ooh My Head by Richie Valens that they
Hmm.
borrowed and didn't give him a credit on until years later.
You know who's
And you know,
who's
Black
playing piano on that?
it's Stu from Ian Stewart from the Rolling
Yes.
Stones, I believe.
It's
Yeah,
it's Ian Stewart. I think that might have been recorded when they were cutting Zeppelin 4 at Headley Grange. And Ian Stewart, I mean, the guy got kicked out of the Rolling Stones for being considered too ugly. But yet he kept playing with them, right? He still worked with them.
I thought you
And
were gonna say he got kicked out for doing too many drugs.
no, they kicked him out because the manager thought this guy's too ugly to be in your band. You can't have him on
Like,
stage, which is insane. And then
Ha!
the poor guy dies of a heart attack in 1985 while he's waiting in the doctor's office.
Damn.
ah, crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Black
yeah,
Country Woman, good blues track on here. Sick Again. I always love that little opening riff at the beginning of that. Such a cool track. But this album's got everything. I mean, you got hard rock, you got rockabilly, you got some country on here. It's just all over the map, but in musical styles. But it's just, I guess that's what makes it such an interesting album because no matter what the style is, the song is pretty good, and it keeps you wanting to listen to it more. So yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
because
my my
I
number
think
one pick.
Into the Light has kind of that krautrock, kind of that new age Germany that was a big influence, started to become like in the 70s. I think it's kind of
Hmm.
dipping into that too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm sure Paige was aware of what was going on, around musically.
that song again. That's another song that because that was probably recorded in like '74. That song, I remember the first time I heard that would have been around 2000. I heard it on that remastered CD that you got there, Tony, and I never heard that song on the radio or anything. And I'm like, what is this? It almost kind of sounds like a Queen song, but better than because it almost sounds like a Brian May riff. But then, I mean, the drums that come in. I mean, there's just so many underrated songs on that album, and there is no fluff on Physical Graffiti. I mean, the thing's solid all the way through.
That's true.
Yeah, that's that's the remastered version that came out. But
That's
this was the first album, this first Zeppelin I ever bought on CD, and it was in one of
Fat
these
Boy.
fat
Yes.
fat jewel case. This is that's the live album, but it was in the fat double jewel case like that when I first got it. And
Yeah,
I remember
Yeah.
it was like $25 or something. It was
the,
expensive because
the,
it was
the
Count
two
crazy
Ralphus
CDs.
got it.
Yep.
Yeah, if the crazy thing is, take a look at your copy of Physical Graffiti, the early one. If you have one that says "Made in Japan" by JVC Victor, for some
Hmm.
reason the coughing at the end of "In My Time of Dying" is cut off, but the ones
Oh
that are
wow.
made in America have the coughing.
Hmm.
Very,
Huh.
very
I think
odd.
mine was probably a US version. I would think I would have noticed that,
Yeah,
when I listened to it.
yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't have
that's
American
crazy.
plants cutting CDs here until maybe 87, 88, and
Yeah, well, I didn't start buying CDs until like 1993. So,
okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you never know. Check, just check the CD. If it says "Made in
and I
Japan,"
probably got it from a used shop originally.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
Joe, if you see like our interview with Jimmy Page, he plays guitar, and then the end lick like is the becomes the main riff for Kashmir.
right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a doodle. He just a doodle at the end that became that whole riff for Kashmir. It's so cool how he made it.
Yeah, because I think Kashmir started with I think it started with just a driving drum beat from Bonham. I
Mhm.
think that's how that one came about. But
Yeah,
Cool.
That's the end of a song from, I think it's around Houses of the Holy Time. It's just because it's just a tail on like on another riff. But it's like, oh, that's cool. I can't recall. It's on YouTube.
All right. Count Ralphus.
all
Let's
right.
get your top five.
Number five came out the year I was born. Zeppelin 3. Got a little like ice cream truck, Led Zeppelin tree, thing.
Nice.
Hmm.
And
Ice cream with mescaline on it.
Yeah.
like of course I got the one with the wheel. It's kind of hard to show. Yeah, moving around a little bit, but yeah, eightfold.
Spinning wheel.
Awesome packaging for back then. Yeah, this is the one that I was kind of surprised that it moved up and it knocked out Zeppelin 1 out of my top five. And then but every time I listen to it, it just gets better and better. The whole first side is amazing. Yeah, the Immigrant song, what a powerful way to kick it off. Friends is cool, trippy. Love it. Since I've Been Loving You is classic. Celebration Day is great. Gals Pole's even classic. Um, yeah, what else? Oh, there's a lot of different styles on this album. I think this is where they really start like experimenting a little bit more compared to the first two albums. But they're always going to be an experimental band. Uh, yeah, this is just a really awesome album. I'm surprised it moved up. So okay, number four is going to be I got Houses of the Holy, and I got the gatefold vinyl of this too. But yeah, this is when I was a kid. It's kind of funny because like he was saying that when he was 13, 1983 is when he was born. But that's right around when I really started collecting music. Like 12 and 13 is when I joined Columbia House and I started like really getting into music. But it's funny how like to me and my friends, Zeppelin had only been gone for like 3 years. But to us, it was already dinosaur music back then. Like to me, it's amazing like to see a young kid with like a Cannibal Corpse shirt. And that band is like over 30 years old now. Like it, and they don't look at it as like an old band because they're still playing, I guess. But it's just crazy how like it's not
Yeah.
considered dinosaur music where this shit was only 3 years old and I was like, they're old. But you could like I fell in love. Everybody heard Zeppelin 4, and that'd be the one that everybody was kind of familiar with. And I got that. I liked it, but I didn't play it all the time because I was just getting into like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and stuff. So I was kind of moving along, and I got Led Zeppelin 2, and I loved that. I was had a lot of big songs, but when I heard The Ocean one day at my friend's house, he had an amazing sound system. He had big giant amps. He had the best like stereo out of all my friends, and he played The Ocean, and it was the first time that I heard it Zeppelin as being like a really heavy band, just from that one song. So I always have a nostalgia for this album because this is the one where I really started wanting to get all of them. I was like, I knew I was like missing out on. on stuff. And the first book I ever read on a rock band, I love reading music books, and the first one I ever read was Hammer of the Gods. I still have an original like
Great one.
hardcover copy. I should have
Same.
pulled all my Led Zeppelin books out. I got a whole bunch of them, but yeah, so like then I really was like, all right, this band's fucking awesome when you start reading all those crazy stories and shit. But yeah, these guys already talked about all the other songs on that. So okay, that was number five. So my number four, oh, I mean that was number four. So now my number three is gonna be uh yep, Physical Graffiti. I got that big double
Fat
CD
Boy.
one, old
Yeah.
fucking. But the
Where's it
cool thing is,
made?
like these guys were saying, how I don't.
No, it'll say
Swan
right.
Song.
No, no.
Was it?
Look on the CD in the front. It'll say "Made in
Oh,
USA, West Germany, or Japan."
On the disc itself,
Yep.
Ralph.
yeah. It
Look up.
says Atlantic Records.
It'll be
If
at
it
the
says,
6 o'clock position.
yeah, it says, manufactured
Yeah.
by Vidir Company.
Victor,
Yeah,
does it say
yeah,
made in
Victor.
Japan?
Yep, Japan. It's like really hard to see. It's so small,
Yep.
but yeah, made in
You
Japan.
got
Comes with a booklet in there.
Yeah, you got the first. That's the earliest version on CD, and that's the one that does not have coughing at the end of "In My Time of Dying."
Huh.
Cough.
Yeah.
I knew it was an old one just because they shrunk down all the ones that used to come like this. Like you don't buy the wall today on the double disc like that. But I like keeping the
Yeah.
old double disc. But it's
Fat
kind of
Boys,
cool
that's
how
what I call them.
it all fit on the one cassette though. So
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
No,
and one
huh,
8 track too. That one's on
yeah.
that, and the song made the same soundtrack. They got them on one 8 track, one cassette, and stuff like that.
Oh, and I do have the die cut. I got it in the plastic. I didn't take it out, but this is the die cut with the windows, and you could take the albums out and switch them around. And
Nice.
it shows like yeah, when you take them out. I don't want to take them out, but yeah, you can just take when you take them out, put them back in. You
Don't
can
take it
have
out.
different people in the window. We did an episode last year on the
Hmm.
50-year anniversary of this album, and I had pulled it out, and I talked because that's all we were talking about was basically this album, you know. But yeah, that's the old original copy, and I forgot to mention the song remains the same when I was talking about Holy House of the Holy. He had the clamshell. I have an old
Yes.
VHS, but it's not the clamshell one. And then of course I got the DVD, but I just had them to the side, so I was talking about them really quick. And then yeah, I mean, Physical Graffiti. I seen it with Keeler. We went to see the band Kashmir. They played at this nice theater, and Keeler got me free tickets for it, and it was awesome. They did the entire album, and they did a couple extra songs afterwards. But it was great hearing how powerful it what would have been live. You try to like close your eyes and like, and it this sounded like a really tight Led Zeppelin. Like I don't think they sounded this tight usually back in the day because they would be fucked up on shit sometimes, you know. But I mean, they were great at times. But yeah, so now I'm just gonna move down to Led Zeppelin 2. Here's a little Led Zeppelin 2 van. You know
Ooh.
that van rocking. You didn't come a knocking when that van was rocking. But
Mm.
yeah, I got this one on cassette too. Of course, I got it on CD, and I got an original vinyl. Yeah, the vinyl. And yeah, this is the one that I remember like getting and listening to like a lot. I mean, Whole Lot of Love is fucking classic. What is and should never be is amazing. It starts off mellow and then it gets heavy, then mellow again. Even like the Lemon songs, like pretty cool. It's just great flow to this album. Eddie Kramer engineering it. Page produced it. But yeah, one of the most influential albums ever. Some people say it's Zepp's heaviest album. Thank You is awesome, powerful song. Heartbreaker, just like these guys were saying, how it goes into Heartbreaker and shit. That is so cool on that. It's weird when you don't. On one of the live albums, I was just listening to um, this one, the How the Westerns Won, and it didn't do it that way. It didn't keep the songs together, and it was like it just seemed weird not having it. It's kind of like if you're familiar with like the Venom and Raise the Dead, like those Buried Alive and Raise the Dead go together as one song. that. But sometimes it is two tracks, but it sounds like it should only be one song. And I mean, this is kind of like lame to probably a lot of people to pick this as number one, but it's Zeppelin 4, got the vinyl, and there's my CD. But I just this is the one that really, I first got, and I first like really fell like in love with this band. And even though you heard Stairway to Heaven so many times, it's such a masterpiece. It's sometimes voted as the number one song of all time in radio countdowns and stuff. I think it went like 17 times diamond or some shit. It's fucking crazy how uh yeah, I thought I wrote that down, but it's crazy how many albums this album sold. But yeah, Black Dog's great. Rock and Roll rocks. Battle of Evermore, so fucking cool. Misty Mountain Hop, just When the Levee Breaks. Every song on it, four sticks. I there's nothing to skip on this. I think it's like a perfect album for what they were doing. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I'm picking the most popular one, but to me,
Hey,
if I
it's
pick,
what you
yeah,
like, man.
it's the one that I have to. If I'm being truthful, that's it for me. That's my number one.
All right.
Killer.
Ovi, Norway. What do we got?
Yeah. Let's see. My number 5 is gonna be Zeppelin 4. My favorite songs is Battle of Evermore and Four Sticks and When the Levee Breaks. A lot of the songs on this album is kind of like, I believe it has to do with Robert Plant's kind of like vision of Tolkien, and kind of like the mystery of the old tales of England and stuff. It's a very like dedication to England's old stories. It's a really good album. Ralph talked a lot about it, so I'm just going to go to the next one, and that's going to be Physical Graffiti. It's number 4. I like Down by the Seaside. I like when it just goes and it kind of had like that stop, and it kind of picks up again with like that repeating voice. It's such a cool track. In the Light, of course, but the great one for me is The Rover. It got my name in it, so I gotta like it best, right? Take away the R's and you got my name.
There you go.
Number 3 for me is going to be Hostess of the Holy. Uh, I didn't like Hostess of the Holy for a long time because I don't know, it seemed kind of like so far out. But the more I listened to it, the more I started to like go back to it because it's so different from the rest of the albums. So kind of like if I've got tired of like the albums you listen to, Hostess of the Holy is kind of like it's such a breath of fresh air, and it's like it got so many things in it. It's like we have done number 4 now, so now we can do what we really want and just take it from there. And kind of like I like the rain, the ocean, but of course the No Quarter is the best one. I downloaded for a long time ago. I downloaded the Hostess of the Holy recording sessions where like No Quarter is up to 30 minutes. It was originally when they had it in the studio, because No Quarter is the first song they made of the album, because it's actually made back in 71. The rest of them is in 72. But the No Quarter, I think, is the best Paul Jones thing ever.
Agreed.
And ironically, they didn't invite him to be on the No Quarter project in Unleaded back in the 90s.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's ridiculous.
weird
Yeah.
enough.
But like Hostess on the Holy too, I could have easily kind of exchanged the Hostess of the Holy song with the is it the Crunch?
The Crunch, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one made the album, but
absolutely.
Hostess of the Holy didn't. Somebody was smoking something.
Yep.
He was
And not
just
in a
trying to
good
find
way.
a bridge. Just trying to find a
Yeah.
bridge.
Where's that
So
confounded bridge? It's in your ass.
My number 2 is going to be Zeppelin 3. When I first got it, I thought it was lame, and it was like only the first song I like listening to because the rest was kind of like country style thing and then stuff. But over the years, I mean that album is so diverse, and it's like
Hmm.
they have given out the two first albums. They finally have earned the respect for their record label. They do what they really like, what inspired them, who they really are, and it's such a down to earth album. I mean, I think it's probably one of the most personal albums they have because it represents so many different things. Uh, Favorite song, of course, is Immigrant Song. Hats off to Harper. I think is really cool. But Tangerine, man, Tangerine is the first time Jimmy plays the 12-string guitar.
I think it's the first
Oh,
time. Well, yeah, and I think he would sing it, and I think briefly they played it live in '75 in England, but I don't know if they played it here in the States. And I mean, you can hear it on Earl's Court. It sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, the
yeah,
pedal steel in the studio version too, man. It's so cool.
yeah.
You know.
Tangerine is really good. So for me, number one is going to be Presence.
Ooh, all right.
Because for me, Presence has such a dirty guitar sound. It's for me the heaviest album they have, and I believe Jimmy Page just did run off after uh, was it the tour they have done before this album, and kind of just went away for a while, went to the States and just lived there for a while, and then they came back, went into the studio because the album is squeezed into like 3 weeks or something. It's like really.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere like he stayed up for a week straight mixing it or something insane.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because this is well, Presence is basically a Page Bonham album because Robert and Paul Jones aren't really. He was sitting in a wheelchair, and Paul Jones, I guess, was doing something else. So it's for me, it's the most hard album because that guitar sound is so good. It doesn't hurt that it's Dave Mustaine's favorite album too. I found out that later, so that didn't hurt me. But the album
There's your
itself is for
Megadeth
me,
connection.
yeah. But for me, it's like it's the start of kind of like I'm sure Judas Priest heard this album back in '76 because there's a drastic change from yeah, it's a drastic change from Judas Priest from '76 to '77. There's a big leap there. So from '76 to '77, particularly UK bands have a radical change, and I think it's because of Presence.
Judas Priest
Uh,
actually played. They opened for Led Zeppelin on Led Zeppelin's final show ever in America.
That's right.
Oh, in
They
Oakland,
are
right?
they are on the green, yeah.
Oakland. Hmm.
And
And
yeah,
they
Presence has a 50th anniversary coming up next month too.
That's right.
the only thing I gotta say it's different from Tony because I can't that artwork. I mean, it doesn't fit how heavy the album is. It's their heaviest album, and it got the most plain cover for me. But it's just what it is. Favorite songs is Candy Rock Store, like Ralph said, T for One, and of course the masterpiece of all, Achilles' Last Stand. I mean, for me, I wish they would release the whole live at
Nebworth.
the Earl's Court in '75, and also the whole live show from Seattle in '77, because my favorite year of their tour is the '77 tour when Page is sadly on the heaviest of heroin. But that set list from '77, it's so good, and he has that Comino or that Japanese kind of feel like all and stuff. I mean, that's such a cool year.
Yeah,
But
it's funny you mention that because I think the only official live '77 stuff we have, because like you were saying, I mean, there are hit or miss shows there. But I think the only snippet you see in the live DVD is in one of the menus. They would open the show with the song remains the same.
mm,
And I was reading somewhere like when they did the Zeppelin, DVD, which James and I talked about it several times in the store. Um, I'm wondering if they're going to start releasing official audio from that DVD, like what they did on that live physical graffiti EP. Because I know there's some people on, what is it, Steve Hoffman forum. They're like, "Oh, this is such a silly release." I think it's fantastic. You got 4 songs. It's almost the length of a 70s album. It's great. But I was reading somewhere the reason why it took so long, or, with that era, late 70s, is because a lot of that stuff was filmed on obsolete tape equipment. So I think they were able to use the Neb, or I think it was the Earl's Court footage that was shot in
Yeah.
some weird Sony tape format that even in 2003 they couldn't even find a machine for. So, but I've seen footage of the Seattle show, like you were saying, at the Kingdome.
Mm-hmm.
That was in that VH1 documentary that got me into Zeppelin that Steven Tyler hosted back in 98, 99. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure nowadays you can clean up anything. And there were some shows where, I mean, especially hearing Achilles' Last Stand brand new live was insane.
Hell yeah.
Because the whole live at Earl's Court at 3.5 hours, I sent it to Ralph yesterday. It's on YouTube, so the whole show is there. And the whole 3.5 hours Seattle show too is on YouTube. So the whole shows are there. It's just, I don't know why they don't do anything, because for me, live in the Old Court 75, they got Tangerine. I feel it, I like it better than Songs Remains the Same, but
I
Yeah,
always
they
like
they
when
only use 6 songs on this one. There's only six
yeah.
songs.
Yeah, I think it's great when you got bands, especially like the major acts in the 70s, Zeppelin, The Who, Pink Floyd, I guess. But when they would go back and polish off a song from 1970 in 1975, I mean that's like especially, I mean, it makes you wonder, why would they start playing Tangerine in 1975? They must have really liked it, I mean, because I don't think they ever played. I don't know if it was in the. Does anyone know if it was in the set list when they played here in the States in '75, or was that a priority cut?
It has to be early in the tour of Zeppelin 4, maybe.
Yeah, because the '75 tour was. Yeah, that tour was cut short too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very short. And the coolest thing is the opening show for the fourth album, because they got so many songs from the album that they didn't use again. So there's a really good bootleg of the first show, because it's back in 71. So 71 was a magical year.
And you were talking.
And
I mean, another random one. Like, you see it briefly in the Zeppelin DVD, which I think the best version of rock and roll you'll ever hear was filmed in Australia in '72, the day after Jimmy Page shaved his beard off. That's when you hear Robert Plant singing rock and roll peak vocal, and it's only in black and white. And I don't know if it's the whole song. I think it's about 3/4 of the song, and
mhm.
it's fun. It's on YouTube. You just type in rock and roll 1972 Australia, and it's insane. I mean, that band is so tight, and Jimmy Page is playing both guitar parts. I mean, they're tight. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent. I'll stop.
All right.
That's
All
good.
good.
Heartbreaker 2, if you get the deluxe version of Zeppelin 1, Heartbreaker is there.
Mm-hmm.
And that song I was referring to is White Mountain Black Country Woman. It's also on the first one, but it didn't get like before a B-side or something, or so they had more good stuff back in the first album, which is really interesting.
Baby, I'm coming home or something. That was on the '93 second box set or
Mm,
something. I think that's what that one's called.
yeah.
All right, Joe. What do you got for your top five? Hey, Joe,
Uh,
where you going with that Dodgers hat on your head?
the World Series. Oh, I don't know. So for the number 5, I got Zeppelin 4. It's crazy. I actually found this one not too long ago at a store here in Connecticut. It's sealed. It's like a 70. It's a 77 later one, but this thing was sealed for like $10.
Yeah.
I always like the ones that have the hype sticker, Super Savior series. But
Yep.
I went with Zeppelin 4. That's actually the first Zeppelin album I ever heard. My dad actually got it from Columbia House, so it probably, I don't know if I
Do you
have it.
still owe them money?
I don't. I never was a member, so I mean, we got VHS tapes. Probably looks something like this CD.
Mhm.
Ironically, this is a Japanese pressing, but yeah, I remember getting this album or hearing it for the first time, and I mean, I didn't know what the name of the album was. I thought it was kind of weird. It had this guy on the cover. I'm like, what is this? And it says Led Zeppelin on the side. I'm like, well, what's the name of the album? And I knew most of the songs because our local FM radio station. I mean, to this day, they play this thing to death. But like I said, like I was saying earlier in our discussion, this was the first Zeppelin album on CD. I think this is the first one. This is a Japanese pressing where it's got a red label.
Yeah, red Target label.
Right, and I got a Target label. That one's from West Germany. That's this one. They all sound the same. I think the channels were reversed on these.
Mm-hmm.
That's West Germany. Then here's just a generic Japanese made one for the US market. But these early CDs, they actually are thin. They're smooth. They're not ribbed. For some reason. I don't know why. Anyway. But the songs I went with on Zeppelin 4, Ruins, Zosa, whatever you want to call it. I went with When the Levee Breaks. That's the perfect way to end that album. I mean, just the drums. I actually really always loved the slide guitar on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
for sure.
You know, it was. I mean, this is really going off on a tangent. I remember again. You know, I was born in '83. Beavis and Butthead came out, and when I was around 10. And I remember there was a music video they made fun of. It was a horrible Bjork video where she's like in some weird, like giant teddy bear, and it almost sounded like it sampled When the Levee Breaks because it had a weird droning sound. So when I first heard that song, I'm like, oh God, I hope this isn't Bjork, but luckily it wasn't. So that was my number 3, was When the Levee Breaks. My number 2 is Rock and Roll, which also has Ian Stewart playing piano on it for the Rolling Stones. And my number 1 track on there is Black Dog, which was actually mostly written by John Paul Jones. It started with a bass riff. So that's my number 5.
I've
Really
heard
quick, I just have to say is that when I was a kid, I remember a bunch of our friends and stuff. We used to refer to the album as Zoso because it was like the one word we would see. It was before we
Right.
knew what was going on. So we used to just call it Zoso for a little while.
Yeah,
I was going to say at a record fair, record convention recently, somebody came up and asked, "Did we have Led Zeppelin Volume 4?"
That's
Interesting.
James knows it's my favorite Black Sabbath album cover, Volume 4.
Oh yeah,
which is reversed. But yeah, it's weird because where's the LP? I mean, the LP. That's why it's got that hype sticker on. I mean, by the time this one came out in '77, everybody knew what this was. And the funny part is, just recently they found out that actually was a real guy.
Yeah, they found it.
They actually found it because Robert Plant found that painting at like a flea market in England where they're making the album. But that actually was a real guy. Everybody thought it was just it was like early photography where they thought it was a composite. But yeah, early copies of it when it was on vinyl, there is no title at all. I mean,
yeah, because
well, what
untitled.
that is right there, that's
it's untitled.
Go ahead, Obi.
Because we all call it number 4 because it's number 4, but it's untitled. It doesn't have a title.
Right.
We just call it number 4.
But also that picture, that front cover, so that's the picture of an inside of a fucking house. So that was a bombed out house from World War II. And what you're looking at is a wall inside somebody's house that has that picture on it.
Like that, right, James?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can see it. Yeah, you can see it there.
And it's supposedly, well, I don't have an open one, but yeah, what if you open up the gatefold of the LP and put it to a mirror, it's like a head or something?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, so bear with me here.
Is the gatefold.
I've got that.
Yeah, I love that bit. The wizard on the top. There is.
Yeah,
they had that. They could put that on the cover too. They had so much cool stuff inside.
I feel stupid. Yeah, so if you put this image here right to a mirror, it makes like a rock or something. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, if you butt it up to the
if you do that.
Go into a mirror next now and just.
Probably the bottom, probably the rocket, the rock mountain makes a face or something.
I got a mirror, but it's not like good for that. It's better for
Ralph, why did you wipe that off before you showed it, man?
Okay.
Somebody's going snowblind.
Can't resist those Black Sabbath references. We got to do a Black Sabbath one next.
I agree.
So, my 4th pick, this is my number 4 album. is Physical Graffiti. Now, oddly enough, that same record store where I found the sealed Zeppelin 4, I found this one in the factory shrink with a hype sticker and
Nice.
a Calorie price tag. So in
There you go.
1975, this album sold for $8.70.
Wow.
I mean, James knows which store it is. I mean, like, I've been picking up records at this store because it's too commercial. Because I buy the Beatles, the Who, and Led Zeppelin.
Is that
Yeah.
is that perforated windows on it? Can you feel it through the plastic, or is it just smooth?
This I'm trying. This one looks like it's smooth.
Yeah, that's not from the 70s. That's probably sold in
the
the 80s. I mean, there,
probably
there
in
was
the
tons
80s.
of Zeppelin was selling so many albums still in the 80s, and these albums went like platinum and diamond and shit. So it's like
Oh wait a minute, hold on.
the first pressings were gone pretty early.
No,
This
what he's
Or early.
saying, Joe, you should be able to feel the front of the record. It should be
Yeah,
you should
if
be
it's
able to feel
sealed,
it.
you would feel it. I mean, they're cut out windows. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's raised. Like you would feel the bumps from each window.
yeah, I
Like
mean,
you'll feel it like right
They're
in
cut.
here.
They're cut
Yeah,
out. They're cut out. So you would feel like a hole
yeah.
in each one. Each one of these windows would be a hole. Like that's like I said when you take
I
the
mean, yeah,
album.
I can feel like that. I mean, I'm just going based on that
Serial
price
number.
tag there. I mean, $8.70 for a double album. I don't know.
Yeah.
When you take the album out, you could see it. You could see right through it. You could
Hmm.
see
Oh,
right
Right.
through the post. And then there's the windows on the inside.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that I found this one with a hype sticker and it's factory shrink because, I'm always looking for records that, factory shrink. They have breather holes. So, but yeah, I mean, I think this thing was only like $30 or something, which was crazy. But back to my picks on that one. It sounds like we all think the same. I mean, I went with the Rover as my number 3 because it's a great song. There's a really great bootleg of them playing that at a sound check for the opening date in Minneapolis in '75. But the other reason why I like the Rover is because they used that song as an opener, as an intro, like they used Out on the Tiles for I think it was Black Dog in '73. But number 2 is Cashmere, obviously. And my favorite track on Physical Graffiti is the closing track. I love Sick Again. I think the reason why I like it is because I remember watching, I think it was footage of them either I think it was Nassau Coliseum in '75. I think it was Valentine's Day '75. I'm not sure. But there's footage of them playing, and it's in that VH1 Legends documentary that broadcasted in late '98, early '99. And I mean, they were just owning that stage, playing that song. And I'm like, what song is this? Because again, that was really before the internet or you had a smartphone where you could look this stuff up. And I was just learning about the band. So I had to try to figure out, what the name of these songs are. I mean, they never say the name Sick Again in the song. So it wasn't for about another year till I got a copy of the album that I knew what the name of the song was. Same with Trampled Underfoot. I didn't know what, yeah, I mean, I heard on the radio. So that was my number 4. My number 3, no pun intended, is Zeppelin 3, and I got a couple cool ones. So this is an early one, with the spinning wheel in it. It's got the old catalog number on it. But what's cool about this one, I picked it up at our local flea market last year, is you always hear about UK albums being the best or, ones from Germany. This is actually a Canadian one with a red label.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Oh, you
That's
don't
this thing,
sweet.
say.
this thing is freaking phenomenal. I mean, this thing is so loud. You always hear about the Zeppelin 2 hot mix. But this thing, I mean, any of the original Zeppelin albums with these red labels, definitely pick these things up because it's for some reason. I mean, James and I live in Danbury, Connecticut. It's about an hour from the city, Manhattan. But I come across Canadian LPs quite often, even when I go and visit my friend Mike in Texas. And I don't know why. Sometimes these Canadian LPs have a better punch than the American ones. It doesn't make any sense at all. But if you ever in your travels find the first 3 or 4 albums, definitely pick them up if they have that orange or that red label because it's different. Because I think in England they're plum labels.
Mhm.
But
Tangerine.
what's that?
Tangerine.
So the cool thing about that was I also have an early issue of that on cassette. So somebody in 1970 wanted to be fancy and bought Zeppelin 3 on cassette. I think it's it's an Ampex. But how before they had jewel cases, some record labels had cassette cases that were almost like a pack of cigarettes with a tray. This has a
Mm-hmm.
push box.
Yep.
Oh,
It's
that's
like a
cool.
clamshell, kind of like
Yeah,
a clamshell VHS box or something.
right.
Yeah.
So
That's really cool.
it's
I
almost
don't
like
have any like that.
they didn't know what to really do with it. So that was kind of neat. But yeah, Zeppelin 3, I mean, the cover's kind of weird. And I think actually, loving the Wayne's World movie, I think it's in the second one because I like the second one better than the first one. Garth is wearing a T-shirt where it's got the Zeppelin 1 cover, but on the back of the shirt, it's got this,
Oh
which
yeah.
which I was totally confused as a kid. Again, I'm like, why doesn't he have, if he's got Zeppelin 1, why doesn't it have the back picture? So again, I don't know. When you're a perfectionist with the stuff, it drives you nuts when you try
It's
to make
probably
sense out of it.
and it was probably a bootleg shirt.
Most
Probably.
likely, yeah, because that movie, the first one's from 91 or 2, and I think the second one's from 94, 93, somewhere around there. But I mean, yeah, the three songs I went with that on there was Since I've Been Loving You, because obviously I always loved them when they play live songs, and when seeing them play that in the song remains the same movie, I mean, it was great. I always loved Celebration Day, and I remember, getting into Zeppelin. I felt so cheated when I got the Song Remains the Same soundtrack, but that song wasn't on there.
That's
I
right.
like, but I did like how in the movie, they go from rock, they go right into that, and it's weird if you ever watch the Song Remains the Same. There's another excellent YouTube channel. I think it's called JCM. I mean, this guy is like a Led Zeppelin walking encyclopedia. He critiques everything. You watch the Song Remains the Same. There's not a lot of consistency there. There's some times where some of the footage is shot on a soundstage at Shepperton Studios in England in '74. That's why, like, Jimmy Page, his hair doesn't match. John Paul Jones had to wear a wig where he looks like a Dutch boy. So, and then I just learned recently on that guy's channel that, when they're playing Since I've Been Loving You, when it ends, there's a kid that has like a dove flies in the air. That was not even shot at Madison Square Garden. That was actually shot at Pittsburgh's Three River Stadium because the kid actually is wearing a pirate shirt.
Huh.
And then I never
Wow.
knew like the footage of them landing on the airplane. That's not shot at Teterboro where the famous, Starship footage was from, or you thought it was. That was actually shot at the airport in Pittsburgh. So when they're driving to the gig on that highway, because living around here close to New York, because it always looks like it's footage from like Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets, because that's when New York City was down and gritty. All that whole traffic scene when they're driving in that tunnel, that's not New York. That's Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
Because
Wow.
me being a car guy, of course, as you can tell, I got all this Chrysler stuff around. There's in that scene there, you see a '70 Dodge Dart with a taillight out. So of course I'm trying to look at it and see if it's got an old New York plate on it. No, it's probably got a Pennsylvania plate. But anyway, another
Ah,
tangent. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But
we'll
that
forgive
was
you this time.
all
Pennsylvania.
right. Ugh, Pennsylvania. So that's
Well,
my
Joe, I used to have a VHS of all these outtakes from the movie, like the fantasy sequences were
mhm.
different in some cases. Some of that is on YouTube if you look up Song Remains the Same outtakes. But I had it on a VHS years ago when something I collecting bootlegs, and it was some alternate footage and stuff. Like I said, this fantasy sequences or some different scenes and stuff
Yeah,
like
because
that.
I was reading somewhere like the song remains the same because they shot the footage at like when that 2003 DVD came out, that was so exciting because until then you had the song remains the same, which wasn't a lot of people would even say it's the end of the tour, they're kind of worn out, they got robbed. I mean, they still
Yeah.
sounded great, but supposedly they were even going to add footage for the '75 tour and put it in there and kind of make it like a composite film. It never happened. But yeah, there was some issues. I guess like they fired the first director. I think his name was Joe Clifton. Then they went with another director. So I mean, yeah, it's not a perfect. I mean, even Jimmy Page would even say it's not even a perfect, showcase of Zeppelin as a live band. But you can even hear on the original. I'm trying to see if I got the 8-track of it. I got the cassette of it somewhere. I remember when I was buying those albums. The song remains the same. Didn't get remastered until '07. So up until like the early 2000s, you still got the unremastered CD, and they were still even selling the white label cassettes. They never made a remastered cassette of that. And if you ever buy these 90s tapes, you always want to get these Digilog ones, which James and I talk about all the time.
Oh
But
yeah.
they never did that for The Song Remains the Same. So I don't know if it had it. Movies are weird. Movies have like different copyrights, different licensing.
Mhm.
Yep.
But with that being said, my number 2 album is obviously the first album, the debut, which now this is another rare one to keep an eye out. So obviously you always hear about, the UK one where that is what do
Blue.
you call it? Turquoise.
Blue,
Those things are worth a
blue,
fortune. We're
yeah,
probably never gonna find one.
turquoise.
However, this one looks totally normal. It's got the original catalog number of, oh, hold on. Yeah, right there. But now I got 2 of these things. I found this at a flea market for $5. It's got this label on it, and it's an American one. It's got an
Yep.
Atco leftover label. So if you got this album through mail order from RCA, Record Club of America, they were using up the old Atco labels, and this was the one you get through the record club. Usually Zeppelin record clubs are not very good. Like if you bought a copy of Zeppelin 2, whether it was Columbia House, BMG, Record Club of America, all the LPs, they would have delayed pauses between the tracks. So if you're listening to Heartbreaker and going into Livin' Lovin' Maid, there's like a random silence that is only on the record club one, which ruins it, right?
Yeah, that
That record,
sucks.
oh yeah, it ruins it. That version of Zeppelin one it's a different mix too, where the vocals aren't in front; they're kind of pushed back a little bit, and there's some extra. I think there's a pause between Black Mountain Side and Communication Breakdown. But I mean, that one's. I mean, it plays fine. It's got some surface noise, but those records are pretty hard to find, and like a mint one goes for like 1,000, 2,000 bucks, I think. I got that one for $5 in a flea market in New Milford, Connecticut, and then I found another one in Newburgh, New York, probably about a year or 2 ago for $30. So every time you're looking around in a used record bin, always check the labels on Led Zeppelin 1. And the nice thing with this, there's no special jacket saying Record Club of America, oddly enough. Every other version does if you bought a record club. With that being said, in Germany, they actually released the first 2 albums as a set. I don't know if you've ever found one out in Norway, but they released it as a double album, Zeppelin 1 and 2. And you could actually even get a Zeppelin hot mix, which I'll talk about in a second. But my 3 top songs, this one was hard, right? This obviously my top pick. To go with only 3 songs on this album and my top one, it was a little bit of a hesitation. So the first one, actually, my number 3 on Zeppelin 1, the debut album, Good Times, Bad Times. I mean, that's the best way of opening that album. I mean, the drums. And obviously, after seeing the Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary, I even have more of an appreciation for it because, again, I didn't live at the time when the song came out. I was talking to my dad, who would have been the perfect age for Led Zeppelin. He was born in '53. That album came out January of '69. So he would have been a freshman in high school. And I said, what was it like hearing that song? And he was telling me, because he was originally from the Bronx, but he moved to New Fairfield, Connecticut, right outside of Danbury here. He was saying they didn't play any of this stuff on the radio. See, that's why it's always cool talking to, people that lived when the stuff was new. We all think that, AM radio was playing all the hits because, Zeppelin was in a singles band. Because I think the only singles that came on Zeppelin 1 was Good Times, Bad Times, and Communication Breakdown, I think. But he was like, yeah, they never played that song on the radio. And I would figure that song would be a perfect song on the radio because it's only It's 2 minutes and 43 seconds. It's got a good hook on it. It's got that nice little bass solo, just like the Who's My Generation had. But I mean, that's James and I are big Ace Frehley fans, and he did a review on this album, and he's going on about, oh, good times, bad times. I had this in my record collection. But I mean,
Good impersonation there, man.
He's looking at, is this my record? Is this my record? I mean, but he is right, though. And then the back cover was actually taken by Chris Drea, who just passed away. He was the original second bass player of the Yardbirds. And he didn't want to join the band. Jimmy Page asked all the guys for, joining this band that became the new Yardbirds, and they became Led Zeppelin from Keith Moon there, but who came up with the name. But that was my number 3. I mean, I just liked it. Yeah, it's commercial. I mean, but you needed that and they never really played that song live either, which I don't know why they would. You'd figure that would be a perfect opener. They play it briefly
really
on
that
Paris thing. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't get the bass. I was reading somewhere that John Paul Jones never thought he had the right bass tone to play it live, but again, I know they played it in 2007 when they did the thing with Jason Bonham, but they do play that a lot on the radio, but not as much as the stuff from Zeppelin 4. I mean, I don't even know if they played that often on satellite radio. Anyway, second, my number 2 on there is Dazed and Confused. Obviously, most of the songs, especially early Zeppelin, I always like the live stuff better than the studio stuff. But I mean, as Tony was saying earlier, I mean, you listen to that song, just having the perspective. Somebody listened to that song in 1969. We didn't even land on the moon yet, and you got this song. What the hell is this?
All that
It's just, again,
stuff
talking about
the whole middle section is just
it almost sounds, and then you got it sounds. Jimmy Page even said in the Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary, it sounds like pure evil there, where you go down, 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 and just it's insane. And then that drone and the bass thing. The best version of Dazed and Confused I think they ever did was when they played it on Super Show in March of '69, where you got the smoke machines going. Nobody else was really, that stuff didn't really happen yet, because I think that was the last time they ever played a TV show, because no, it's the second to last time, because James and I, when we saw that movie 7 times, just like a scene on a Spinal Tap, when they're playing Communication Breakdown and also Dazed and Confused in Paris, you got kids crying, you got people that are like, they don't know what they're watching. But then remember, James, we saw you got the 2 guys there wearing the sunglasses, the aviators. They're like the only people that appreciated it.
Yeah, the whole rest of the crowd was kind of sitting there like this.
It's
kind of like they didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, because I know usually a lot of English bands never did well in France. Even like the Beatles played Paris right before they came over here on the Ed Sullivan Show, and obviously conquered America. But the Paris audience they didn't get it. I don't know why. Anyway,
because they're French.
They're still angry about the Revolutionary War. So anyway, my favorite track on there, Ovi said it earlier, is How Many More Times. And I think the reason why I like that one so much, obviously, it's it's a rendition of Smokestack Lightning that Jimmy Page is playing, back in the Yardbirds days with Jeff Beck. And I got a sentimental connection to that, because they, back in the early 90s, that for some reason, this was obviously before streaming and everything like that. TNT, TBS, feel bad because I think I was talking about this with James the other day. They had a lot of miniseries that were on TNT, TBS, TNN. These were all Ted Turner channels. There was a great car documentary, and they did something. I probably have it in my archives over here. It was called The History of Rock and Roll. And you had Ozzy Osbourne get interviewed. Ozzy Osbourne's wearing like a Batman Returns baseball cap and a hockey jersey. You got Paul Stanley there without any makeup. You got Robert Plant, obviously when they were doing the Page and Plant stuff. So you got all these. You got one of my favorite guitarists, Pete Townsend, saying how he hates Led Zeppelin, but he likes the guys in the band, but he just doesn't get it. I mean, you got a lot of great interviews. The thing's probably out of print now, but anyway, that was the first time I saw what the band Led Zeppelin looked like. And they played clips from when Zeppelin played, Denmark in March of '66 or '69, which is in the Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary. And I just remember them because they played Communication Breakdown, uh, Daisy Confused, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, and they closed with How Many More Times. And I just think it's so cool when before they close, you got Robert Plant introducing the band. I think he did that quite a bit in the first, couple US tours in '69. And I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if this is the right time to go on with it, but I liked it so much. I even bought the guitar.
Nice.
So, because the crazy thing is, the first Zeppelin album, he's not playing it. He's not playing a Les Paul. He's playing, there's obviously a copy of it, but he's playing a Telecaster that he got from Jeff Beck, and he played that up until probably spring of '69 when he bought the '59 Les Paul from Joe Walsh of all people. Joe
That's
Walsh,
right.
I mean, it's funny. I love Joe Walsh. I hate the Eagles. I hate them.
Ha!
But that sounds like a common thing of everyone loves Joe Walsh, but they hate the Eagles because Joe Walsh also gave Pete Townsend the Gretsch guitar that he played throughout the recording of Who's Next. So for some reason, Joe Walsh is always giving guys guitars. I think he
Mm.
sold Jimmy Page that Les Paul, but yeah, he kept playing it until a friend of his was house sitting and he destroyed the guitar on him. And I think the neck of that Telecaster is what he played the solo of Stairway to Heaven, and then I think you see him playing another Telecaster in Nebworth that has that neck but a different body. But
He had
yeah,
that pink. He had the pink paisley one too.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So that's my number two. My number two. So obviously we got our last one, which is what a shocker, Led Zeppelin 2.
Of course.
I mean, I'm
Hold
kind
on,
of
hold on.
yeah. I know.
How many copies of that album do you have?
Why don't we let
Altogether.
why don't we let the panel guess of what would be a realistic but insane number of copies to have of this album?
I'm gonna
25.
guess
Well, James,
25
do you know or you don't know?
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
gonna guess 55.
Okay. Your guess is 55. Let's go around the room. Your guess is 55. Next,
I say 39.
39.
39.
Okay.
Count Ralphus.
I'm gonna say 5. I can't imagine anybody owning that many copies. I mean, or maybe 10. I'll say. I know it's gonna be a lot
Okay.
because these guys are going fucking crazy.
Okay. Tony, you're the last one. It's like the price is right.
Tony said 45.
Well,
I
unfortunately,
say
you're
25.
25.
Oh, 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said 30.
30. Okay.
I said 39.
39.
Okay.
That's right.
Unfortunately, you're
But
all wrong. The last time I counted, there's 60 of them.
Whew, I was close though without going over.
And that's
I said
just
55.
that's just on vinyl. So
Oh my god.
that doesn't include all the versions of I got the 2014 CD, the 94 remaster, which is actually the first version I heard on CD, which I still like. I know people rip these things apart, but that's what I like. Then
That's
you
the
got
version I got.
the Japanese one. But all these CDs, right? You could spend more money where they say made in West Germany or they all sound the same. This version right here, the silver face CD is probably the closest you get to an analog one. This actually sounds like a George Piros cut. So you guys might know where I'm going with this. So probably in the last 10 years or so, there's been a lot of talk, especially with Zeppelin 2, of an RL hot mix, right? I mean, it's so bad. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, I even got one with a hype sticker on it. Actually, two hype stickers. This actually came from a local store in our area. This actually has so this isn't a hot mix, but it does promote the new single.
There you go.
And in case you didn't know what songs were on there, I think all of them had this hype sticker that told you the tracks. So this is an early one because it's got the old 4-digit code. This is probably a late 69, early 70 pressing. However, the one that everybody talks about is there's something called a Robert Ludwig hot mix. What that was, and that's what this one is, right? I actually found this one. October, I think it was October 2024. I've seen copies of that one go for $800. I am not kidding you. This is how much I paid for that same record, October 2024. I got it for $2.
Nice.
So, funny story. This one now, I got a few of them, and they're not common. I mean, they made about 200,000 of these things because this album went, I think it went gold like in 2 weeks. And what you want to always look for on them is in the dead wax. I don't think it's going to come up on the. You want to see where RL still stands for Robert Ludwig.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we see it.
What makes this one even better, it says MO for Monarch. Monarch means it's a West Coast pressing. Zeppelin albums, for some reason, when they cut them in California, which is weird because you'd think an East Coast pressing, because it's closer to England where it was recorded, would sound better. For some reason, it's the same with Beatle records too. The American ones, they actually sound better if they're from the West Coast because the record labels by then were located out there, like the headquarters. So anyway, this particular one, I was searching one of these for years, right? I mean, I found a few of them. There's somewhere it's only side one. There's somewhere it's both sides. And Atlantic didn't have their own pressing plant. They would actually sublet them out to other manufacturers. So my friend Mike and I, this guy lives down in Texas. What we've been doing the last few years when I go and visit him, we'll go visit a bunch of record shops, right? So I don't know in your areas, Tony, you might have. Do you have something called Half Price Books? It's a weird chain.
You talking about Ed McKay's?
No, we don't have them here in where we live in the Northeast. It's called Half Price Books. Essentially, they have any type of media gets traded in. It could be music, records, sheet music.
Here it's Ed McKay's. Just McKay's is the same thing. I mean, it's not the same company, but it's the same general idea.
Yeah,
Everything.
so
Sort of thing, yeah.
It's a very strange store. I mean, they'll take in books, magazines. I mean, really weird magazines, which you wonder why would anybody even still have these anyway.
Playboy?
So, yes, they do.
Nice.
They do. And they're under locking. But the weird thing is with their records, it's like going to the pricing makes no sense. I mean, granted, I've seen that same record sold for $800. I got it for $2. So my friend Mike and I go in there on a Friday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody in the store. There's one other guy in there, right? And he's just moping around. He's literally sprawled on the floor, and he's going through the albums. And of course, I go over to the new arrivals. I go to the B for Beatles. I go to the L for Led Zeppelin. And I go to the W for the Who. I don't see anything.
And the P for Katy Perry.
Yes. I do go to P for Katy Perry. Anyway. I don't see anything else there. So I'm talking to my friend Mike. He's like, did you find anything? I'm like, nah, there's nothing here. This one guy that has like one Spider-Man comic book who's sprawled on the floor. I see him pulling out of the $2 bin, not only Led Zeppelin 1, he's pulling out How's the Holy and Led Zeppelin 2. I'm like, how? And then I see the price tag. They're in the $2 bin. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then he's looking at them like he didn't know what these albums were, and he puts them back. I said, all right, well, they're probably trash, but I'm like, I'll go buy them for the jackets. So the Zeppelin one, it didn't have that super rare label, but it was an early one. I picked it up. That was $2. I pull out this one, right, and it had that $2 price tag on it. I pull it out, so, it's not in bad shape. Oh, it's got the original, inner sleeve. That's kind of cool. It's worth $2. And when I pulled out the LP, and I saw it's a Monarch, it's a West Coast pressing. When I saw the RL on there on both sides, SS for Sterling Sound, I literally went through every possible emotion in 30 seconds you could. My friend Mike's like, "What the hell is going on? Are you having like a stroke here or something?" I'm like, "You know what this thing is? Yeah, it's Led Zeppelin 2. Don't you have enough of these things?" No. This is an even better one, and it was $2. So. I mean, they're out there. I don't know if you guys are big vinyl collectors. It's very, very, the bass is super loud, but the reason why they're rare is because when it first came out, what was the gentleman's name from Atlantic Records? Amit Erdogan, right?
Ahmet
Aragon, how do you
Erdogan.
say his name?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
supposedly his niece got a copy of Zeppelin 2. She plays it on her portable record player, and the thing starts skipping like crazy because just like nowadays, you go to Target, and I bought my niece one of those cheap Crosley record players. We returned both of
Okay.
them. They don't play
Oh,
right. They start skipping because the tone arm isn't adjustable. So
Garbage.
so he had Atlantic Records pull them all off the shelf, have them recut the album. Some of them sound decent, right? Some of them sound like they're underwater. Because I remember the first copy of Zeppelin 2 I got on vinyl probably in 98 was one of those that sounded muddy like it was underwater. I thought the record was defective. No, it wasn't. It was that one, and also there's something called a George Piros cut, which will say ATGP in the dead wax. Those you can get for like $15 or less. Those sound great too. But look it up online. These things, and James knows I go to so many different record stores. I never even heard about these things up until about 10 years ago. And the album came out in 1969. You'll go to some record stores, they'll sell a copy of one of these hot mixes. The thing looks like it was played on sandpaper. They'll want like $100 for it.
oh yeah, I've seen it.
But like I said, I
Yep.
got this one. I got this one. It's a Monarch. It's a hot mix. I got it for $2.
In the 90s, you could have found stuff like this every day of the week, but
Right.
ever since
Absolutely.
Discogs came out and even eBay, people didn't even know what they had until they started saying, "Oh, you got to look at this label and everything like how you're doing." But back then, you just find it everywhere, and 50 cents sometimes for
Oh,
vinyl.
Mhm.
In the 90s, when no one was collecting vinyl, get it so cheap. Not today, though.
no, I feel embarrassed. I mean, I literally got probably half a dozen of these things sitting around me. So a hot mix one. I mean, you can see right here. See how the run out? You don't have a lot of room. That's a
Yeah.
hot mix one. Now this one's that other one with the hype stickers on it. This one, there's more room on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I and then you can also tell in the hot mix, it almost looks like a defect in the vinyl because that's when you got the crazy part with Whole Lot of Love. It's certain tracks. I even brought one into the store for James to hear it. I mean, you actually have a whole new appreciation for John Paul Jones on this album. I mean, Whole Lot of Love is big with it. The Lemon Song, Ramble On. Um, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, there is a big difference. If you're a big Zeppelin fan, it's worth picking one of these things up. But I wouldn't. I mean, the most I think I spent on one of these things, I think I bought that and a Beatles Revolver album. I bought the pair for $50. Um, I wouldn't spend hundreds of dollars on one of these things. If you look hard enough, you'll find one. They're out there. I mean, does anyone else have one or ever listen to one of these things? I mean, do I sound more
I've had
crazy?
one in the past. Yeah, and sold it.
Um, you sold it
It
recently,
was
or
pretty beat up. It was pretty beat up as well.
yeah, it's crazy. Like if you find one, like I got one somewhere here that's I don't even think I'd want to sell it to someone because the thing's so beat up. But again, I mean, we're all the kind of people that go to record stores regularly. We probably find them. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent, so I'll get right to it. My top picks for this, my number three. This one was hard to get three of them. I knew what my number two, or excuse me, I knew what my number three and my number one were. Number two, I was toying with, but I was able to make a decision. Number three is Bring It On Home. I mean, just how it starts off with Robert playing, just playing, paying tribute to like old blues singers there with the harmonica. Then we got Jimmy Page coming in with that riff, and I mean that song was great in the montage there and becoming Led Zeppelin, where they were showing them coming back to England. That
Oh
is a
yeah.
phenomenal way to end an album. I mean, Zeppelin 2 from beginning to end just doesn't stop. I mean, there's no fluff in it. And the best thing with that album was, we were talking about it earlier. Oddly enough, this album was recorded on multiple continents.
Yes, that's right.
Some stuff was recorded in England. Some was recorded in New York, L.A. I think one track was recorded in Vancouver. So you would
Yep.
think, I mean, it's not an audiophile album. It's almost like a live studio album without being with an audience. It's really weird. It's almost like an audio scrapbook of their I think might have already been their third U.S. tour, which is nuts. So Bring On Home's my number 3. My number 2 is the Lemon Song. I mean, of course, I got this on CD. I think I was in high school, so it would have been one of these, the George Marino, Jimmy Page remixes. So I'm like, the Lemon Song. I'm like, what is that? And of course, being a teenager, you start finding, oh, that's funny. But the guitar work, the bass playing, and the one part that even cracks me up in that to this day when I hear that song is when John Bonham hits the triangle out of the blue. There's a part of
Yeah.
it, right, like he just hits the triangle. Like, I can't think of any other rock song, especially on a Zeppelin album, where you hear a triangle. But
Yeah.
I mean, that was crazy, just that. And then obviously, it might sound cliche. My favorite song on that album is "Whole Lot of Love." I would say, especially when driving old classic cars around. I'm a big Chrysler Mopar guy. I have a '72 Duster. I just think of the perfect song to be driving around is either hearing "A Whole Lot of Love" there, just the laughing right before it goes into the song, and then cruise around here Heartbreaker playing. But "Whole Lot of Love" is my top pick on that. And then this thing right here, I don't know if anyone's ever seen this before. I think it's my last show and tell item. I actually found this in Texas for $10. Anybody want to guess what it is? It's not an album, so it's a
I
book.
know what it is.
I
It's a
know you know
tour
what it
book.
is. That's correct. That is a 1969 U.S. tour book. So I bought that in Josie, Texas, suburb of Dallas. I got that back in 2017 for $10. It was a cool store. It's called Josie Records, and I was there with my friend Mike. And I'm talking to the store owner, and he's like, "Oh, you seem pretty knowledgeable. Actually, I think I bought a hot mix at the store too." He said, "You seem pretty knowledgeable with this, and we don't know what this thing is. So whatever it is, you can have it. It's $10. Do you know what it is?" And my friend Mike's like, "Do you know?" I'm like, "I know exactly what it is. What is it?" I said, "It's a tour book because they played in 1969. You could find it on YouTube. They played the 1969 Dallas International Pop Festival, and that's the one where they open up with Train Kept a Rolling." And I just love it how the MC there says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Led Zeppelin." That's probably where that thing came from.
There you go.
I,
So
I can't believe that they had tour books in '69.
yeah,
You
it's
haven't researched it to see like if it might have been something that came out a little later? I mean,
no,
that'd be insane to have a tour book from 1969.
Elvis
it's
Presley,
all
Elvis Presley added 69.
it's all like generic pictures. Actually, a lot of the pictures we saw in Becoming Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They may
I'm
have
like,
not they may have not called them tour books back then, just
yeah,
souvenir
Yeah,
programs.
program. Well,
yeah,
they called them that even in the '80s. They call them that. But
because it's really weird. Like I said, I mean, it's almost like it's a hardcover. It's like a golden book. It's a cardboard cover.
You
wow,
got to remember too, Count, they had Peter
that
Green as their manager,
that's
so I'm
crazy.
sure any way he can make
Yeah,
an extra dollar
I mean,
was
like I
probably
said, I mean, I'm a big Beatles fan, and I mean, I still find Beatles tour program. They had them in 64,
oh,
65, 66. But like you were just saying, though, there's a possibility that they printed these things, and you might have been able to get them from, you know, banquets, like boutique stores and stuff. So, yeah, it's
yeah.
technically not a program, but they probably had this at the merch booth if you were there. And then, I mean, all the history adds up. So it probably came
Like
from the
I don't
Dallas
even think
International
they
Pop
sold
Festival.
shirts at a lot of times. A lot of bands didn't even have shirts back then. Like
Right.
tour shirts and stuff became more of a thing in the like mid '70s and stuff. If you have an original Led Zeppelin tour shirt, that thing's worth like $3,000, no matter what the
Oh
condition
yeah, I
is.
bet.
And
Yeah, there
Yeah.
it's
was
like,
someone right. There was someone recently, I don't know if I saw it on Reddit or Instagram, where I think it's like a navy blue shirt and it says Doso in white. And I think the shirt's from like 75 or 77. And it's like you were just saying, where I mean, people were smaller than, I mean, it is the food that we eat now, but I mean the shirts were thinner. I mean, these things were not made to last 10,
Yeah.
20 years, let alone 50 years. I mean, they were all made on, yeah, because I got a friend of mine that sells at our flea market in New Milford, Connecticut, and he gave me a whole backstory of like tour shirts from the 80s. He's like, you won't believe how much this stuff goes for. But
Oh
that's
yeah.
another thing. Like I said, I mean, I wasn't expecting to find this thing, but if you look around long enough, you'll find a lot of it. But yeah, it was weird when James and I were seeing that movie more than half a dozen times. They must have taken all those pictures. I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's. I thought it was pretty neat to have it. And the scariest thing is, this thing must have been a pain to be carrying around at a freaking pop festival in Labor Day weekend of 1969, sweating your ass off.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
they
man.
made,
Pulled off.
Led Zeppelin.
Beatles had a lot of stuff out too. So I mean, like I said Peter Green. I meant
Peter
Peter
Grant.
Grant,
Yep.
the manager. Yeah, Peter Grant was. I'm sure he was on top of, hey, what the Beatles have got all this stuff. We should start carrying some stuff like this.
I just
Selling
found
it at
it on
shows.
eBay. It says Led Zeppelin, the visual thing, original 69 USA promo tour hardback book, $200. I would think it'd be worth a
Wow.
lot more, but it looks just like the one that you just showed. So
Yeah, and it's
Nice.
weird
Yeah,
because
$10.
amazing,
Wow.
amazing.
yeah, it's definitely cool. And yeah, it says copy. Yeah, it says another Goldstein and Gold happening. Led Zeppelin copyright visual 1916. I mean, yeah, they're like really weird pictures. I mean, it's just weird, strange, but I don't know. Hopefully, I did all right on the homework assignment. Hopefully, I gave you good answers.
Hey, you did great, man. Awesome.
Oh
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
it's amazing.
Fucking awesome.
I try.
Yeah, man.
Talking
It,
about a whole lot of love. There's what's the name of the black guy in
Willie Dixon. Willie
police
Dixon.
in the police school, or what's the
Oh, Police
series?
Academy. You talking about
Talk-
yeah.
Michael
What's his
Winslow.
name?
Michael Winslow. Yeah, yep.
Yes, he was in Norway on a talk show, and he does a whole lot of love, like
I
through the
saw
mic.
that.
And the fuss is
he
Amazing.
does
so
He does Hendrix too.
Yes, I saw
yeah,
that. That
He
was
it's
does
so
so
the
good.
good.
the way down inside where you hear it coming in before plants start singing. He does
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's fucking great.
To think that
And
those
that
two
used to blow
albums
my
came out in the
mind.
same year, though, I could picture that being on like sold on a double album, like you were saying,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
come out
Yeah.
in the same time. Like by the time certain countries would get an album, they were probably already had the second album out. They said, let's just put them both
Mhm.
together. But that shows
Yeah.
how incredible they are. This much great music in one year like that,
And
unbelievable.
and the other
Mm.
thing, too, I mean, to me, I mean, that's one of my favorite. I mean, it's a perfect album cover. I mean, you kind of want to take it seriously, but like if you look at the faces, I mean, actually, the funny thing is, yeah, I mean, if you look at their faces, that was way before Photoshop.
Yeah.
It's from the first promo photo, and
That was real cut and paste.
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. I was in eighth grade. This was May 1998. We were on our Washington trip. We went to the Smithsonian, and they had a picture of that album cover with the original, Red Baron photo, like on display. Of course, I was the only one in our class that knew what that was, but
Ah,
that was kind of cool being on your school trip in Washington D.C. and you see, your favorite album like on display with the original photograph of, it was great. I mean, to me, it's James knows. I mean, well, tell him the one story about our friend Rob when he saw a copy of one of those things in the store recently.
oh yeah, Rob from Sacred Oath recently came in the store and he sees a used copy of Led Zeppelin 2. He goes, wow, this is still here. Joe DePoto didn't come in and buy this. And yeah, I'm shocked too.
He's having withdrawals, but yeah, like to me, I mean, that's my favorite Zeppelin album. Without I never get sick of listening to Led Zeppelin 2. I mean, and it's
It's a
perfect.
classic.
I mean, the thing is, it's only 40 minutes. Both sides are 40 minutes long.
Yeah,
That's it. I mean, it's shorter
it's
than
a
the first
classic.
album.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
So
All right. So let's get to Steven's picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Steven picks from 5 to 1. Led Zeppelin 3 is going to be his number 5. Houses of the Holy is his number 4. Physical Graffiti at number 3. Led Zeppelin 4 at number 2. And Led Zeppelin 1 at number 1. So those are Steven's top 5. So there you go. Now my top 5. I'm
it's for the
gonna go
outdoor
with
too.
what's that?
In Through the Outdoor too.
Yes, and through the outdoor too.
Out through the indoor.
Yeah.
Out through the indoor, which is where that fucking album should go. It's fitting that they put it in a brown paper bag and just drop it right in the trash. Um, Number 5 for me is going to be Led Zeppelin 4. How about that? Also for me, much like you guys, and the first Led Zeppelin album I ever heard. I remember, I've talked on this channel before about my first time hearing Ozzy. My brother, when he went away to prison, had a bunch of records under our bunk beds, and I remember pulling those records out. And the two that caught my attention because of the album covers was Ozzy Blizzard of Oz and Led Zeppelin 4. There was something about that cover of Led Zeppelin 4 and then opening the gatefold and seeing the wizard on the rocks looking down. It just looked so creepy and evil to me. So I listened to the Ozzy first and then wound up putting the Led Zeppelin on. And that was another one where I put side 2 on first because I didn't know the difference. I just put the record on the platter and heard Misty Mountain Hop and went, whoa, this is really fucking cool too. So I made a copy of that onto a cassette, and that was my first Led Zeppelin experience. Rock and Roll, fantastic song. Holy shit, so good. Love that opening drum thing that reminds, of course, everybody of Little Richard. Keep on knocking, but because you can't come in, he stole that, but we'll forgive him for stealing from Little Richard. Misty Mountain Hop, first Led Zeppelin song I ever heard. I love that tune. I love that riff, that bow down, bow down. It's so good.
It's actually a keyboard, isn't it?
Is that keys?
Yeah. It's keyboard.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
I
Great
always
keyboard.
thought it was.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great keyboard riff. When the Levee Breaks, all-time top favorite track for me. And all-time top favorite Led Zeppelin track overall. I just really fucking love that song. There is a very low quality lo-fi version that you can find on YouTube of Down covering that song. It's really low and it's just really bad demo quality, but you get the point of it. And I wish they would do like a real good produced version of it because it's fucking great. Just a great song. And Jimmy Bower does the song fucking justice because he's a great drummer. Number 4 for me is going to be Presence. Up higher on the list than most of you guys. Man, I love Nobody's Fault But Mine is just so good. I love that. It's so good. I crank that whenever that starts. So killer. T for One, I like. I like that shit. Hot Sun for Nowhere. I love the funky stuff in that, man. I love that shit, man. I think that shit rocks. And of course, like everybody else, Achilles' Last Stand is just epic. It's just so good. It's like a metal Led Zeppelin song. It's just badass. Number 3 for me is going to be Joe DePoto's favorite, Led Zeppelin 2. Man, the entire side 2 of Led Zeppelin 2 just rules. I mean, the whole album is great. I remember getting this. My sister just randomly showed up to my house one day and gave me a copy of it on cassette. Here, I went to a flea market and got this for you. And just threw me a copy of Led Zeppelin 2 on cassette. And I played that tape until it popped, man. It just such a great album to get into them with. So many cool riffs, great production, the good bluesy shit with the hard rockin' shit, and a fantastic album to listen to under the influence of leafy green medicinal herbs. Just fantastic.
Plus,
Um,
you're a bass player, man. I mean, the
yeah,
bass is just godlike on that album.
the bass is fantastic on this album. Heartbreaker, Live and Love and Made, those two tracks together, oh, just disgustingly good. And I love Bring It On Home, man. That's like Joe said before, what a way to end an album with that cool bluesy thing, and then to just kick your ass with riffs and then go back into the blues to end it off. Love it. Number two for me is Led Zeppelin 1. Um, I put this one just slightly ahead of Led Zeppelin 2 because I beat the shit out of that Led Zeppelin 2 cassette to the point where I just kind of got tired of it. And I really never beat up Led Zeppelin 1 like that. So the older I got and the more I heard Zeppelin 1, I really loved it even more. Good Times, Bad Times, what an opener, man. And it opens that awesome movie that Joe and I went and saw 7 times. Your Time Is Gonna Come is so
Yeah.
epic. So epic. What a great acoustic ballad thing, and just it's just so majestic and so uplifting. I love that track.
Did you like it more before we saw the movie half a dozen times, or did like I got more of an appreciation of it after seeing the movie? Because I think Tony was saying if you grew up, well, you too also grew up on the cassette, so to you that was the first Zeppelin song you heard, and I mean that organ there. I mean it
Yeah,
almost sounds like that. Even when Zeppelin came out, that was still light years ahead of what other underground bands are even putting out. I mean
no doubt.
that definitely sounds more like a song from like late '67, early '68 than something going into '69 with the
Yeah,
organ there. I mean, it
yeah,
just blows the doors. I mean, we're talking about a minor song that probably nobody else would even talk about, and we're saying
right.
that it's phenomenal.
It
Yeah.
really just is though. And yes, hearing it loud in the movie theater all those times, it made me love that song even more and just pushed it to the top of the bunch for me.
And the Black
And
Crows thing was good too. I mean, they did a great cover of that.
yes, yes, and yeah, that Black Crows with Jimmy Page thing that just got re-released last year, where they give you Crows songs and give you shit from Physical Graffiti that wasn't on the original release. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Except
Um,
the packaging. I
number
don't like that.
one, yeah, and I know you hate the packaging because
Oh,
it's in a digipack. Number one favorite track for me on this is How Many More Times. And our boy, me and Ovi love Danzig. Our boy Danzig stole this for The Hunter. If you go
Mm-hmm.
back to the first Danzig album, self-titled Danzig 1, he fucking steals some of the lyrics and throws it in there, and it's funny because Tony brings up the riff for Twist of Cain. Um, I don't know how much real riff writing John Christ did for the Danzig stuff. I think Glenn wrote a lot of the riffs. So being the fact that he wrote him The Hunter and threw that Led Zeppelin reference in there, I would say that Glenn probably stole that riff idea from In My Time of Dying and threw that on Twist of Cain. I would say that that's probably Glenn doing that. But yeah, great song and of course, fucking awesome. Number one for me is
Hey
going to be
James, just
yo.
wanted to say the Hunter is actually a cover song. It's an old blues song.
Oh, okay.
here
I
he
did
says they
not
call
know.
me the Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like Albert King or somebody like that, maybe. I'm
Well,
trying to
don't,
remember.
don't yeah, James, don't feel bad. My father's not much of a Zeppelin fan. It's funny, like I remember because as you could tell, I play stuff to death, right? So, I
Right.
mean, growing up as a kid, I mean, whether it was, I mean, we're in the year 2026 now, right? I was listening to these same albums 1,000 times when they were only 25 to 30 years old. Some of these albums are 60 years. I still play them all the time. So my dad's
Of
like, you know
course.
what, you ruined my music because you keep playing the same damn crap. Well, anyway, he didn't know until recently either. He's like, oh, why is Robert Plant calling that? That's so stupid. He says the Hunter. I said, Daddy, it's not a Zeppelin. So what do you mean? I said, that's like an old blues cover. Really?
Ah,
So don't feel.
Yeah,
Most
I
people
just
don't even
looked it
know that.
up. It's Albert King. Yeah, Albert King
okay.
cover. Yep, yep.
There we go. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, how many more times? I'm. We got a good group here because I'm glad that we're a lot of us picked similar songs that nobody else would pick. I'm actually very impressed that other people picked how many more times off the first Zeppelin album as their top ones.
So number one for me, there's only one left, isn't there? Physical Graffiti.
Mm.
That's my number one. Boy, do I love the Rover. What a really cool kind of psychedelic riff in there. I mean, there's times where I'm just like in the shower and that riff pops in my head, and I'm like, I gotta bring that album to work and listen to it now. So good.
Sounds so much more modern than 74, 75.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
love the Wanton song. That's a great tune, man. Wanted song fucking rules. And my
On
all-time
Zeppelin 4.
favorite track on this, and my all-time favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time is In My Time of Dying. Just such a nasty, bluesy, epic fucking song. And it reminds me of being hungover.
Mm.
Um, I remember my buddy who I lived downstairs from, who taught me how to play guitar. We were trying to start a band when I was a teenager. Oh boy, did we ever have a long night one night and wake up the next day, go down the garage to jam. And he had just went to the mall and bought Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti on cassette. And I had never heard it before. And we're tuning up and getting ready to jam and having a little hair of the dog to fucking take some of the pain away. And I just remember kind of the room spinning a little bit. And then and I'm like, oh my God, this is like life right now. Holy shit. These riffs are just like I don't think I could take it. And I just remember getting through that song and being like, wow, this is literally like being hung over audio wise. And that always kind of went with me through life. And every time I hear that, I just remember the room spinning and trying to tune my guitar, and just a great song. It's totally fitting for that. And Zach Wild did a fantastic cover
He did. He did.
of it when
Like
he
it.
was in Pride and Glory. Go check that out too.
Mhm.
That's a really really
You should
heartfelt killer
you
cover
should check
of the
out the
Pride and Glory
original In the
session.
Time of My Dying. In the Time of My Dying, the original one is from 1928. It's called Jesus Make Up My Dying Bed.
And I
Oh, there
think
you
they
go.
and I think Zeppelin they didn't play it after the 75 tour after Robert Plant got in that car accident. So I don't think they played it in 77 or 80, correct?
I'm not
So
sure.
so I mean, yeah, I mean, when you see it in that Zeppelin DVD when they're playing in Earl's Court, I mean, it's even better than the studio version. I mean, yeah, they're in top form playing that stuff. I
That's
mean,
why I want it to be released, the whole thing. We need
I
it.
hope they
The whole
do.
cut.
Or to really even release the audio. I mean, How the West Was Won is great, and the song remains the same. I mean, I'm glad they redid, but yeah, they have so much stuff that just release all that stuff. Don't keep releasing the studio albums. Give us a bunch of concerts.
Yeah,
So
I
who
agree.
else besides me picked Physical Graffiti as number one? Was that Tony Dio?
I did.
Okay, so Physical Graffiti wins. Um, got 2 votes for that as number one. Led Zeppelin 1 got 1 vote. Led Zeppelin 2 got 1 vote. Presence got 1 vote. And Led Zeppelin 4 got 1 vote. So Physical Graffiti wins the battle. So there we go.
Could
I
have
got
been
It's been
worse.
fun, man.
a couple things to show really quick.
Please
Um,
Yeah.
do.
this is like a picture disc. Came out in like '88, and it's pretty cool, but it's an interview. It's not like music.
Ah,
Yeah,
Okay.
And I
whole
actually
series of
I got
those.
two of these, and it's the same one, and one of them sealed. For some reason, I got two of them, and
nice.
this one's never
Do you
been
know what
released.
Those
interview it's from?
rock.
It says I haven't listened to this in forever. It says
Is it a Chris Tetley?
Yeah, the Chris Headley interviews, and I
That
see
guy interviewed everybody. There's tons of those out.
Is that the
Different
old gray whistle
any
test or something?
it says 1987 on this, but it's got a picture of the guy, and it has like a little story about him, I guess, but I can't
yeah.
see that right
Huh.
too good right now.
He interviewed I've got several I've got Dio and several other ones that he's done. They even did one on Celtic Frost. I've got it on CD, the
I got
Celtic
an
Frost one,
Ozzy
but there's
one.
a picture disc of this.
I got an
Nice.
Ozzy one. That's a picture disc. That's the interview. And I got this Jimmy Page, quarter, and this one's sealed too. But the weird thing is it's ripped on the other side, not on the I mean the plastic is coming off on field. And I got to see them on this tour, which was just an
94,
amazing thing
95.
because yeah, it was around that time, and I remember my wife had a friend that was a huge Zeppelin fan, and I wasn't planning on going to the show. It was kind of expensive and stuff, even at that time. And I thought they were kind of touring, just doing this stuff. I didn't think they were going to be do. Maybe they do like one or two Zeppelin songs. But I ended up going, and we had seats behind the stage, which was weird. But Zeppelin had, I mean, Page and Plant didn't have a backdrop. So at first I'm like, this is gonna suck. We're like sitting right behind them, but we're real close, only like a few rows back. But with the no backdrop, it was amazing. Like they just turned around every now and again, and you were like, you felt like you were really close to them. So I was just blown away. They played so many fucking Zeppelin songs. I do have,
That was
I got some of
great.
these
That was a
Page.
great tour. I saw it too. That's the closest thing I'll ever see to Led Zeppelin.
Do you
You
know
know,
do you know what
Yeah,
venue
I wish John Paul Jones would have been there. I seen him at Madison Square Garden when I
oh
went.
I
yeah.
saw him at
That
Virginia Beach.
yeah, that would be pretty cool because I'm thinking about that where yeah, I remember it was weird. My friend Mike, somehow he was in a Metallica club. We got snake pit passes, which, the seats are they're not good, but it's an experience you'll never have before or ever again. And I could totally see that with that Page and Plant thing, where it probably seemed a lot more intimate seeing them like that than,
Hmm
seeing you like you're not looking at the screens or anything.
Oh well,
Yeah,
they were able to sell out the whole back of they wouldn't have had seats available there. Like with Pink Floyd, they have the big dome. That's
Right.
all seats. So that they ended up being able to put like another 5,000 people in there just because they had no backdrop. So it's a pretty cool thing. But I do have like two old cassettes that were like bootlegs of shows from that tour. I got a lot of like the Nebwork I had on cassette back
Yep.
before like you put it out, and I got a whole stack of like this is June 27th, 1969, live at the Playhouse Theatre in London, and these are
Oh,
just
that's probably the BBC stuff, I bet.
yeah, like this stuff all comes out later on other stuff. Like yeah, I got the official like BBC
Yep.
CD. And of course, I get this the DVD Celebration Day, and I already showed how the West is one, the great ones to have. But yeah, I got like a whole stack of just burned CDs of different things, but some of it's available nowadays. This one's a weird thing. It's a Kashmir. It's a symphonic Led Zeppelin
I
CD.
remember that one.
Yeah,
I
it's
remember that in the stores.
pretty weird thing to get. This in common in communium or whatever tribute to Led Zeppelin. I have the real
Encomium.
encomium. Yeah, I have the original cassette, but I'm missing the cover. And then I got a burned CD of it. And then this one, the song retains the name CD. It's all tribute bands doing it. And then here's part two to it on cassette. I have a second one. Session Man. I got volume one and volume two, and it's just like a ton of like it's from this one's from 63 to 67, and then yeah, both of them from 63 to 67. But he did so much session work, and like some stuff he forgets that he even played on, and he didn't always get credit on it because he was a session guy. But yeah, they covered their page and like the other stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah,
That
thanks, man.
Coverdale Page album is so goddamn
Yeah,
good.
it's good. Count, I'm surprised you don't have Dread Zeppelin.
Nope,
Ha!
never got that.
Heartbreaker Hotel.
That was on Beavis and Butthead.
Ah.
Like that Bjork video.
That's right.
Well, James, do you know the video? Do you remember that episode of Beavis and Butthead?
I do, yes.
I just remember, like, and of course they're making fun of it, but it's got. I'm not crazy, right? Does it have like the same kind of droning, drumming, like when the levee breaks?
I'd
I
have to
don't
go back and listen
I
to
don't
it
have a
again.
clue. And
Yeah,
I'm not familiar
I
with Bjork.
It was,
yeah,
oh, it was weird, but I mean that's why they're making fun of it, and the show holds up. The show just holds
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
Cool.
All right,
Yeah.
guys.
So I'm a giant Elvis fan. So moving this forward, in 11th May in '74, Elvis played the LA Forum the whole Led Zeppelin, all four people was there. So he acknowledged that they were there, like saying that your Led Zeppelin is here, and he's kind of jokingly looking back at this band. It looks like you know what we are doing, kind of to admire how good they are to play. And
Yeah,
they obviously and Led Zeppelin spent like a couple hours backstage with Elvis afterwards, and uh, talked and like did good pleasantries to each other for music and stuff. So it's strange if that doesn't come up in the future sometime.
Yeah.
The
well,
Beatles
yeah,
have a very similar story too. The Beatles went to an Elvis show, and then they sat up way far in the back, but I think they got to meet him that night. But they were just
they went
shooting
to
the
his
stuff.
house in Bel Air.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and the crazy thing it was, I mean, Jimmy Page says the song that got him, playing guitar was Elvis's "Let's Play House." So I mean, yeah, it's just crazy, especially when it's almost what is it like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon where you can kind of connect all this stuff.
Right.
Nuts.
I just got done reading an Alice Cooper book, and he told his experience of meeting Elvis, and his
Yeah.
was funny as hell. It was like, oh, you read that too, Tony? Yeah,
Yeah. And
he
every
goes
time he
back.
tells it, it's different people with him. I've heard Chubby Checker. I've heard, yeah, he tells who's with him, and the names change.
Well, he said he got like brought into like another room. Yeah, I forget who we went to the party with, like Liza Minnelli or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, Linda
The
Lovelace.
elevator. Yeah.
Yeah, Linda Lovelace too was
Linda
part of it.
Lovelace.
But he goes like into another room. Elvis is like, I want to show you something, and he pulls out a gun
Yeah.
out of a drawer and he gives it to him. And he's like, now point it at me. And Alice is like, what? And Alice is thinking he's got armed bodyguards sitting right outside. They're gonna see Alice with a gun. But then Elvis takes it out from him and knocks him on the ground and puts his foot on his head. He's like, I just wanted to show you how I did that. He goes, and here, I'll show you my prized possession now. And he pulls out a thing of X-rays. He got into a fight with like three guys, and his bodyguards were about to jump on him, but Elvis wanted to fight him himself with his kung fu fighting, and he beat him up and somehow got the X-rays from the guys that got sent to the hospital. It was like he was so proud because Elvis doesn't. Alice was saying he thought it was because Elvis doesn't get to live like a normal person. So for Elvis, it was such a normal, like, cool thing, a human thing to do was to beat up these three guys, and he was so proud of the X-rays. I just thought I'll never forget the
Yeah,
story
it
because
is.
it's a bizarre story.
Yes, that is a
You
good
can't make
story.
something like that up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of Alice Cooper was warming up for Led Zeppelin. The first tour Led Zeppelin was in the United States in '69. Alice Cooper
Mhm.
warmed up for Led Zeppelin.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
wow.
they played with everybody. Pink Floyd, they were friends
The
with all of
Doors.
them guys. The Doors, yeah, it's crazy.
Hmm.
Well,
'69
what
was
was it? John
such a
Bonham
great
was
year.
whose best band was it? Tony Iommi or
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think yeah, it was John Bonham was Tony Iommi's best man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing.
And that's another thing I
That
wanted to
that's
bring up
that
before.
Sabbath and Led Zeppelin jam that supposedly was recorded. I mean, who's got
Yeah.
that?
I supposedly Tony Iommi has it somewhere in the vault, but that was another thing I wanted to bring up before that I didn't get to before we sign off. Joe was saying like, wow, how fucking crazy and heavy would it have been to hear Zeppelin 1 in 69? If you read Tony Iommi's book, he talks about being at the bar with the guys in Sabbath and the guys in Zeppelin show up and they hand a copy of Zeppelin 1 over to the dudes in Black Sabbath. So they're drinking all night and then they get in the car and fucking Sabbath goes to go back to where they're hanging out. And Tony puts the tape or the 8-track into the stereo in the car. And Ozzy freaks out and he's like, this is so heavy, man. Like, do you hear how ridiculously heavy this is? And Tony Iommi goes, without even like taking eyes off the road, he goes, our album's going to be heavier. And it was.
And Naomi, I mean, Plant and Bonham are both from Birmingham,
Yep.
where
Yes.
they're always considered to be like a London band because the other guys are from London, and that's where they kind of made their base out of. But yeah, those guys are Birmingham too, so it's crazy to have Zeppelin, Priest, and Sabbath all coming from this same area. Like
Yeah,
All
so
from
heavy.
industrial
Birmingham.
towns. Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
what about we always talking metal stuff. I mean, James he's much more familiar with metal than I am, but I always find it funny that that clip with Lemmy there because Lemmy was from Manchester, right?
I believe so, yes.
And he actually would go to the cavern. He saw the Beatles when they came back from Hamburg, and his history is correct. The Beatles were more of a ballsy band than the Stones were because the Beatles were from Liverpool, which was a port city,
That's
and
right.
the Stones were from London.
Now,
They came from more well off backgrounds. I mean, you
Oh
know,
yeah, the
it's
Beatles
just
came from the street, and the Stones were art school students, like
right.
But because the Beatles dressed nice and everything, they kind of get known as like the nice kids or whatever. But yeah, they were definitely the street kids when they were young.
Yeah, and you listen. I mean, again, Beatles my favorite band, but you listen to some of that early stuff when they were playing Hamburg, the Reefer Bar. I mean, they're playing these places for 7, 8, 9 hours a night for months
Yes.
on end. I mean, and they had to learn all these obscure songs. I mean, it is always nice to hear a lot of the early metal bands saying, the band that got them in it was, the Beatles. People are like, really? No, that's who got them
Oh,
into it.
Ozzy always says the number one band that made him want to do music, and so many, all the bands from that era, guys from Kiss will say that and stuff. And
Yep.
it's like, people my age and Tony's age, they're all say like Kiss is like the Beatles for
Oh
that
yeah,
era. And
Yeah.
I don't know
when
who to.
Ozzy talks about Beatles, it's so great because he speaks about Beatles in such a passion. Ozzy is almost
Yeah.
crying when he's
She
talking
loves
about
you.
it.
He loved that one. I know that.
Yes, because it's like he said it was like going to bed in a black and white world, and he heard Beatles, and he wakes up the next day. It's in color. The world is in colors. It
Yeah,
was
because I
such
mean,
a big thing for him.
yeah, especially what those guys grew. I mean, here in the states, here, I mean, those guys growing up in England after the Second World War. I mean, most of that stuff was
Hmm.
still like we saw in the Zeppelin documentary. Most of that stuff was still bombed out into like the late
Oh
'50s,
yeah.
early '60s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they always talk
Yeah.
about when they were kids, they played bombed out things, and they would dig through rubble and just find shit all every day. You'd find
Hmm.
who knows what.
Well, I hope we do this again. What do you think, James? You want to do a Kiss one? You want to do a Black Sabbath one? You're the host.
I'm into both of that. But for
Yeah.
right now, we're going to sign off on this. We went long tonight. This was a great episode. I want to thank Tony Dio. I want to thank Count Ralphus. I want to thank Ovi. And I want to thank Joe for finally joining an episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. This has been a
And,
killer episode. Let's get
and
your
thank you, James,
ranking.
for being the host.
Let's get your ranking. Go in the comments. Tell us what you think from 9 to 1. Am I wrong? Is Tony Dio wrong? Is Joe wrong? We might be. Who knows? Give us your comments.
I'm the only one that's
Like
right.
and
Thank you.
subscribe.
He's in another time zone. Come on. I mean, look at that effort he gave.
That's
It's in another
right.
continent.
So leave your comments, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching the Rock Fantasy Files. I'm James. That's Joe. That's Ovi. That's Tony. That's Count Ralphus. We are signing off. Have a good night, boils and ghouls.